Chapter 25-28. What is it? Longao was curious as to what Xiling was going to tell him. Xiling's expression was solemn as he said, "Longao, it's not a problem for you to help you Long, but you have to be careful of someone from the Peak Dragon clan." Xiling knew Longao's character very well. Longao valued his friends very much. He could be cruel to his enemies and even eliminate them completely, but he would sacrifice his life for his friends. It was almost impossible to stop Longao from helping his friends. Who? Could it be Yu Long's second uncle, Yu Bubai? Longao certainly knew that there were 5 Peak Starry Sky Immortals in the Peak Dragon clan. Other than the clan leader, Yu Bubai, the other 4 Supreme Elders were also Peak Starry Sky Immortals. Could it be that the person Xiling wanted him to be careful of was the clan leader of the Peak Dragon clan, Yu Bubai? It didn't seem possible. Longao knew Xiling very well and knew his own strength. With his strength and the Chaos Palace alone, Peak Starry Sky Immortals wouldn't be able to do anything to him. If that was the case, why was Xiling so solemn? He seemed to be able to guess what Longao was thinking. Xiling thought for a while and said, "Before I stepped into reincarnation, I learned about the 6 great clans. Let's not talk about the other clans first, but the most mysterious one. The first clan leader of the Peak Dragon clan, the Dragon Emperor, is not simple. Dragon Vein?" Longao certainly knew who Xiling was talking about. The Dragon Vein was the forbidden area of the Peak Dragon clan. Other than a few people who could enter at will, no one else could. He had already stepped into the forbidden area and seen the so-called Dragon Vein. Because of this, Longao was 100% sure that the so-called Dragon Vein of the Peak Dragon clan was the rumored fallen first-generation Dragon Emperor of the Peak Dragon clan, who was also the Peak Starry Sky Immortal Dragon Slayer. Yes, it was the Dragon Slayer. One could imagine how powerful the Dragon Slayer was to create the Peak Dragon clan, one of the 6 great clans. Xiling, what's going on? Longao's intuition told him that Xiling was up to something. Long too definitely did not really die. He only chose to go into closed-door cultivation to break through to a higher realm. Apart from himself, there were probably only a few people in the entire vast starry sky who knew this secret. Longao, back then, Dragon Slayer was already a Peak Starry Sky Immortal. According to the information I obtained, Dragon Slayer even obtained a secret realm and chose to go into seclusion to refine it. Upon hearing Xiling's words, Longao was completely shocked. This was because he had never thought that the Dragon Slayer had chosen to cultivate in isolation because he had obtained the secret realm. If that was the case, didn't it mean that Long too should have become a half-step starry sky ruler long ago? What was going on? Longao didn't hide anything from Xiling, and told him everything that had happened to him. His face became more and more dignified. "Longao, I believe you've already guessed that with Long two's talent and potential, once he obtained the secret realm, he would definitely be able to refine it and become a half-step starry sky ruler." He nodded. How could Longao not know what Xiling meant? If there were no accidents, since Long two had already devoured the secret realm, he would definitely become a half-step starry sky ruler. There was almost no doubt about this. According to what you said, since Long two had become a half-step starry sky ruler, there was no need for him to continue refining the secret realm. Why did he continue to cultivate in seclusion? I really don't understand. It was indeed a mystery. There must be something fishy about it. Longao knew that this matter was definitely not simple. No. Xiling and Longao looked at each other and saw the deep shock in each other's eyes, because both of them thought of a possibility. It was still the same sentence. Under normal circumstances, since Long two had successfully refined the secret realm and become a half-step starry sky ruler, he would definitely come out of seclusion to help the Peak Dragon clan reach a higher peak. However, in the end, not only did Long two not come out of seclusion, but he continued to cultivate in seclusion. Both of them had already guessed that the reason Long two continued to cultivate in seclusion was definitely not to refine the secret realm. Since it wasn't to refine the secret realm, both of them guessed at the same time that Long two might be refining the Chaos Stone tablets. Whether it was Xiling or Longao, both of them were almost certain that there were definitely more than 12 Chaos Stone tablets in the vast starry sky. The number of Chaos Stone tablets that had appeared now was more than 20 Chaos Stone tablets. Even if Dragon Slayer had obtained the primal Chaos Stone tablet, it was still very possible. Longao, I believe you've guessed it. If there are no accidents, it seems that Long 2 has obtained a Chaos Stone tablet. Apart from this possibility, I really can't think of any other reason why Long 2 would choose to continue cultivating in seclusion. Xiling nodded in agreement. After a deep sigh, Longao said helplessly, if this is true, then things will be very troublesome. Long 2 has been in seclusion for so many years. Although I can say now that Long 2 definitely hasn't truly refined the Chaos Stone tablet and become a Starry Sky ruler, no one knows when Long 2 will succeed. If Long 2 really did refine the Chaos Stone tablet and become a Starry Sky ruler, then it would be almost impossible for Yu Long to take back his Peak Dragon clan. However, facing the old ancestor, Yu Long might choose to put aside his hatred. After all, the Peak Dragon clan was still his clan. Longao certainly didn't know whether Long 2 was friend or foe. If Yu Long could take over the Peak Dragon clan, then it would be beneficial for both himself and Longao. It would be a lie to say that he didn't have a trace of selfishness. Longao, I want you to be careful of Long 2. Even if Long 2 hasn't become a Starry Sky ruler, just the strength of a half-step Starry Sky ruler is already very difficult for you to deal with. However, according to what you just said, Long 2 has chosen to seal himself. If you destroy Long 2 now, then you still have a chance. Longao already understood what Xiling meant. If Long 2 really refined the Chaos Stone tablet and became a Starry Sky ruler, then it would be almost impossible for him to kill Long 2 unless he could also refine the attributeless Chaos Stone tablet and become a Starry Sky ruler, then he would have a chance. However, this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If he could completely destroy the Dragon Vein while Long 2 was still sealing himself, then even if Long 2 became a half-step Starry Sky ruler, he believed that he wouldn't be able to escape destruction. After sending off Xiling, Longao did not hesitate in the slightest and immediately went to find his good friend Yu Long. He told Yu Long his thoughts in full detail, wanting to see what Yu Long had in mind. Chapter 25-29. Yu Long was absolutely crucial. If Yu Long decided to give up on revenge and chose to support Long 2, then everything he did would not only not help his friend, but also cause trouble for him. If Yu Long decided to continue his revenge and wanted to take back the peak of the dragon race, then he would support his friend without hesitation. Yu Long was also very clear about Longao's intentions. If it was before, he would definitely choose to support the old ancestor without hesitation and give up on revenge. But now, everything was different. Whether the old ancestor died or not had nothing to do with him. As long as he could take back the peak of the dragon race, he would be willing to kill the old ancestor with his own hands. He should make a decision. Without the slightest hesitation, Yu Long said, "Brother Long, I know what you mean. I've thought about it. I just want to take back the peak of the dragon race. No matter who blocks my way, I'll kill without mercy." Longao smiled. He nodded with appreciation. Because only then could Yu Long be a person who could achieve great things. Although he was a little confident, he still hoped that his friend could stand out. "Brother Long, the peak of the dragon race's strength is there. There are 5 peak Starry Sky immortals and Long 2 is still alive. It'll be difficult for us to do it." How could Longao not know about Yu Long's worries? The peak of the dragon race's strength was too strong. Just his and Yu Long's strength alone could not shake the peak of the dragon race. It was a fool's dream. If he chose to fight with force, it would be like hitting a rock with an egg. Longao would definitely not do such a stupid thing. "Yu Long, I believe you already know that Long 2 is already a half-step Starry Sky ruler. According to my guess, if there are no accidents, there is only one reason why Long 2 chose to cultivate in seclusion." "What reason?" "The Chaos Tablet." "Ah!" Hearing Longao's words, Yu Long was completely shocked because he never thought that the old ancestor had not only devoured the secret realm but also the Chaos Tablet. Yu Long was not a fool. Of course, he knew what Longao meant. If he could get the Chaos Tablet in Long 2's hands, then he would also have a chance to become a Starry Sky ruler. The temptation of becoming a starry sky ruler was there. Even Yu Long could not resist. "Brother Long, what do you mean?" He nodded. Longao smiled and said, "Brother Yu Long, you should have already guessed what I mean." "That's right. My intention is very simple. I want you to replace me. Not only do I want to take back the Peak Dragon race, but I also want to take away everything in Long Tu's hands. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't even dare to think about it. Except for Longao. If Yu Long could really become the ruler of the universe, he would definitely be able to help him with the Peak Dragon race." Yu Long nodded and did not say anything else. Since things had already come to this, there was nothing else he could do. Take a gamble. If he won the bet, he would be able to soar into the sky. Not only would he be able to stand at the pinnacle of the vast starry sky, but he would even be able to bring the pinnacle of the dragon tribe to a higher level. If he lost the bet, the worst that could happen was that he would be consigned to eternal damnation. Right at this moment. "Brother Long, what's wrong?" Longao's face was filled with surprise as he said excitedly, "Brother Yu Long, let's talk later. I can feel that my cultivation level, which has been stuck for a long time, is finally loosening." Without waiting for Yu Long to speak, in the next second, Longao's figure had already disappeared without a trace. Inside the primal Chaos Palace. Longao didn't know why his cultivation level, which had been stuck for a long time, would suddenly loosen at this moment. He already knew that the real reason why he couldn't break through was because his constitution required him to devour a huge amount of energy. What is this? Looking at the Chaos 9-colored lotus in front of him, Longao finally understood what was going on. According to Longao's guess, if there were no accidents, the real reason why he couldn't break through after fusing with the Chaos 9-colored lotus was because he didn't devour the power of the Chaos 9-colored lotus. After such a long period of fusion, Longao had finally truly fused with the primal Chaos 9-colored lotus. With the true fusion, Longao could use the power of the Chaos 9-colored lotus to break through the current Starry Sky Legend rank and reach the Starry Sky Immortal rank. Without the slightest hesitation. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If he missed it, who knew how long it would take for him to break through again? Sitting on the ground, Longao began to wholeheartedly break through. The Chaos 9-colored lotus floated in front of Longao and began to rotate continuously. Now that Longao had completely fused with the Chaos 9-colored lotus, he could control the Chaos 9-colored lotus at will. For more than 200 years, he hadn't been able to break through. Finally, he had waited for this moment. For Longao, the significance was too great. The gap between the Starry Sky Legend rank and the Starry Sky Immortal rank was too big. Once he successfully broke through from the Starry Sky Legend rank to the Starry Sky Immortal rank, Longao was confident that he could kill a peak Starry Sky Immortal rank in a one-on-one fight. This was the gap between the two. However, even if he broke through to the Starry Sky Immortal rank, Longao knew that he couldn't kill a half-step Starry Sky ruler with his current strength. No matter what, half-step Starry Sky rulers had secret realms to protect them. He absolutely couldn't fail at the last moment. Time passed by little. After about 3 months, Longao finally opened his eyes slowly. His face was filled with surprise and excitement. After 3 months of continuous cultivation, he finally broke through from the Starry Sky Legend rank to the Starry Sky Immortal rank. After waiting for more than 200 years, he finally broke through smoothly. Standing up and looking at the Chaos Palace around him, Longao let out a long sigh of relief. If he encountered a so-called peak Starry Sky Immortal rank again, he wouldn't be afraid at all. If he was lucky, he could even kill a peak Starry Sky Immortal rank expert. Excluding the Starry Sky rulers and half-step Starry Sky rulers, although his cultivation hadn't truly broken through to the peak Starry Sky Immortal rank, his current strength was already at the peak of the vast Starry Sky. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't surprised. Longao's cultivation had smoothly broken through to the Starry Sky Immortal rank. Only a few people knew about it. Longao knew very well that this smooth breakthrough was all thanks to the Chaos 9-colored lotus. Otherwise, who knew how long it would have taken him to break through to the Starry Sky Immortal rank? 100 years. 10,000 years. 10 million years. It was all possible. Thinking about it, he felt that his luck was really good. Taking advantage of this opportunity, his cultivation had smoothly broken through. It was really beneficial for what he was going to do next. With the smooth breakthrough, the next step was to head to the Peak Dragon clan. P.S. Starting tomorrow, I'll resume 5 chapters a day. I'm really sorry for making everyone wait. Chapter 2530. Brother Long, congratulations on successfully breaking through to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm. If it was someone else breaking through to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm, it would be impossible for them to compete with a Peak Starry Sky Immortal Realm expert. Only Longao's situation was very different. Because Yu Long knew very well that once Longao's cultivation successfully broke through to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm, even a Peak Starry Sky Immortal Realm expert wouldn't be a match for Longao. An anomaly. Longao was really an anomaly. However, Yu Long was really happy for Longao. The stronger Longao's strength was, the more excited he was. Brother Yu Long, I was just lucky to be able to break through this time. Was it really luck? Yu Long knew a lot about Longao's past. In less than 300 years, Longao had developed from a trash to a super powerhouse today. This kind of cultivation speed was really a bit inconceivable. He didn't continue. Because Yu Long knew that although Longao's cultivation had successfully broken through to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm, he was still far from it. So what if he could fight against a Peak Starry Sky Immortal Realm expert? But one had to know. Above the Peak Starry Sky Immortal Realm, there was the half-step Starry Sky Dominator Realm. Longao still had a long way to go. Brother Long, what should we do now? Of course, Yu Long knew what to do next. Dealing with the Peak Dragon clan could be said to be a narrow escape, especially now that he knew that the old ancestor hadn't died and had even become a half-step Starry Sky Dominator. Fortunately, the old ancestor hadn't refined the Chaos Stone Tablet and become a Starry Sky Dominator. Otherwise, no one in the vast Starry Sky could suppress Long too. How could Longao not know about Yu Long's worries? This was also the most depressing thing for him. Although he knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, it was really difficult to do it, and even a narrow escape. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Let's go. In the end, Longao and Yu Long still chose to go to the Peak Dragon clan because everything would be too late when Long Tu's cultivation truly broke through to the Starry Sky Dominator realm. There were countless races in the vast Starry Sky. However, among the countless races in the vast Starry Sky, there were 6 races that stood tall in the Starry Sky. They were considered the most powerful existences in the vast Starry Sky. The 6 pinnacle races were the Pinnacle Human Race, the Pinnacle Dragon Race, the Pinnacle Underworld Race, the Pinnacle Rat Race, the Pinnacle Slaughter Race, and the Pinnacle Mystery Race. Among the 6 pinnacle races, the most powerful one was the Pinnacle Human Race, and the most mysterious one was the Pinnacle Mysterious Race. No matter what, the 9 great Starry Sky empires of the human race each had a half-step Starry Sky ruler. As for whether the other 5 races had a half-step Starry Sky ruler, it was unheard of. Even so, the Peak Human tribe did not dare to casually provoke the other 5 tribes. Think about it. To be able to stand tall in the vast Starry Sky for so many years and be known as the Pinnacle Race, it would be impossible for them to not have some foundation. Among the 6 major races, the Dragon Race was considered to be in the lower middle class. Ever since the first-generation Dragon Emperor, Long Tu, had fallen, the situation of the Peak Dragon clan had not been optimistic. In order to avoid unnecessary trouble, the Peak Dragon Race was considered to be in a semi-concealed state. As long as no one provoked me, I would definitely not take the initiative to provoke them. This was also why there were very few members of the Peak Dragon Race in the vast Starry Sky. Just as Longao and Yu Long were rushing towards the Peak Dragon Race, they encountered an unexpected person. It was truly a narrow road for enemies. As the saying goes, when enemies meet, their eyes turn red. The person Longao and Yu Long met was none other than the person who wanted to kill him and Miao Ling in the mysterious plane, the so-called Ju Feng of the Slaughter Race. Other than Ju Feng, There were 4 other pinnacle starry sky immortals who had left the mysterious plane to search for Longao and Miaoling. The 4 pinnacle starry sky immortals were Gang Mu, Yi Chong, Jin Chen, and Hua Bolai. Longao had never forgotten about the 5 of them. If it was the previous him, not to mention 1 against 5, even in a one-on-one situation, he would not be a match for the 5 of them, especially Ju Feng. But the situation was completely different now. With his cultivation base breaking through to the starry sky immortal realm, Longao was filled with confidence. As long as he did not meet 5 pinnacle starry sky immortals at the same time, he would have a high chance of killing one of them. Longao, long time no see. How have you been? Ju Feng's face was still as shameless as ever, hiding a dagger in his smile. Regarding Ju Feng, of course, Yulong was not unfamiliar at all. After dealing with him for countless years, the grudges between them were still very heavy. Especially because of Longao, Yulong hated Ju Feng to the bone. Ju Feng, do you think you can take on the 2 of us alone? He was a little surprised. After sensing carefully, Ju Feng finally sensed that Longao's cultivation base had broken through from legend to starry sky immortal realm in such a short period of time. Such a cultivation speed was indeed shocking. Even so, Longao did not seem to have the qualifications to challenge him. Yulong alone was no match for him. Even if the 2 of them joined forces, he would not be afraid at all. Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. Ju Feng looked up to the sky and laughed crazily. He laughed for a few minutes before he stopped. He looked coldly at the 2 people in front of him and said coldly, Longao, Yulong, since you know my identity, I don't want to continue talking nonsense. Hand over the secret realm and your secrets, and I can let you go. Otherwise, at this point, Ju Feng did not continue, but the meaning in his words was very clear. Other than being a powerful pinnacle starry sky immortal realm expert, Ju Feng also had the massacre race behind him. Not to mention empires, even the 9 pinnacle starry sky empires did not dare to underestimate the massacre race. How could Longao and Yulong not know what Ju Feng meant? They just smiled and did not care at all. Longao smiled and said, Ju Feng, why are you talking so much nonsense? If you want to fight, then fight. If not, you can scram now. With his current strength, once he joined forces with Yulong, Longao was confident that he could kill Ju Feng. In fact, in his heart, he would not let Ju Feng leave whether he wanted to or not. Cut the weeds and dig up the roots to prevent future troubles. If he did not kill Ju Feng now, there would be a lot of trouble in the future. Even if Ju Feng did not come looking for him this time, he would look for Ju Feng and the other 4 people. Longao, you want to kill me? As a massacre race expert, how could Ju Feng not know that Longao and Yulong wanted to kill him? Chapter 2531. Without hiding anything. Since things were already like this, there was no point in continuing to hide. At this moment, Yulong smiled and said, Ju Feng, I have to admit that in terms of individual strength, Longao and I are indeed not your match. However, if the 2 of us work together, it's more than enough to kill you. With just the 2 of you. His face was full of contempt and mockery. Ju Feng was very confident. Not to mention Longao and Yulong, even if 2 more peak universe undying came, he wouldn't be afraid. With just the 2 of us. Waving his hand, Longao stopped Yulong from continuing. He only spat out one word, and that was the word kill. Without any hesitation. End the battle quickly. Their real target was the peak dragon race, not Ju Feng. Because in front of the peak dragon race, Ju Feng wasn't even worth a fart. The 2 didn't dare to waste time. Under such circumstances, the longer they wasted time, the more disadvantageous it would be for them. Because no one knew when Long 2 would refine the primal chaos tablet and become a universe ruler. They had to think of a way to kill Long 2 before he became a universe ruler. Yulong and Longao's speed soared to the extreme. One on the left and one on the right, they attacked Ju Feng crazily. Holding the Chaos Axe, they used the Chaos 9 axes. Chaos 9 axes, first axe, Hell Devour. Space cracks began to appear in the surrounding space, crazily devouring Ju Feng. If it were anyone else, Ju Feng wouldn't be afraid. Only Longao's situation was different. He grasped the universe and merged with the Chaos Nine Axes. In addition to the power of the Chaos Nine Axes, he could also shatter space. Such power could threaten any peak universe undying. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't afraid. Until now, Ju Feng still couldn't figure out how Longao did it. How could he forcibly break space and cause space cracks to appear in the surrounding space? Ju Feng knew very well that even a half-step Starry Sky ruler, or even a Starry Sky ruler, wouldn't be able to do this. Unbelievable. If he didn't see it with his own eyes, he wouldn't believe it even if he was beaten to death. How did Longao do it? Counter every move. Ju Feng could be considered to be extremely calm as he frantically dodged the spatial cracks with his extreme speed. This was because even with his strength, once he was swallowed by the spatial cracks, he would definitely die. It was precisely because of this. Aside from Ju Feng, who was afraid of the spatial rift, Yu Long, who was attacking Ju Feng with all his might, was also afraid. He did not dare to approach the spatial rift. If they were accidentally killed by the spatial rift, then the losses would outweigh the gains. As a result, the strength of Yu Long's attacks decreased significantly. Ju Feng was more than enough to deal with it. Longao's expression was solemn. He never expected Ju Feng to be so strong. It wasn't the strength of an ordinary peak Starry Sky immortal. What was going on? If this continued, it would not be a solution. If he couldn't kill Ju Feng and let Ju Feng escape, then he would still have a lot of trouble in the future. With his current strength, in a head-on clash, he definitely didn't fear Ju Feng, nor any peak universe undying. What he was afraid of was that Ju Feng would not fight him head-on and would instead choose to launch a sneak attack from the shadows. If that was the case, it would be unrealistic to say that there wouldn't be any trouble. Longao, I have to admit that your cultivation speed and strength are really strong. If your cultivation could continue to break through and reach peak universe undying, I really wouldn't be your match. But now, ha ha ha, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha, Ju Feng's heart finally relaxed. Because he was very clear about Longao's situation. If Longao's cultivation could continue to break through and reach the same level as him, which was the so-called peak universe undying, then he definitely wouldn't be Ju Feng's match. If he chose to fight head-on, then he would definitely die. But now, Longao's cultivation had yet to break through to peak universe undying. With the current situation, Ju Feng could still deal with him. The more Longao was like this, the more he wanted to kill Longao. Cut the weeds and eliminate the roots to prevent future troubles. Ju Feng's strength was indeed strong. At the very least, ordinary peak universe undying wouldn't be Ju Feng's match. Yu Long gradually left the battlefield. Even if he wanted to join in, he was powerless because Longao's space cracks were simply random attacks. Whether it was Ju Feng or Yu Long, as long as they were swallowed by the space cracks, the consequences would be unimaginable. As for Yu Long's withdrawal, it was Longao's idea. Because Longao was very clear that in his battle with Ju Feng, not only would Yu Long not be able to help him, but he would also bring trouble to himself. Longao and Ju Feng's battle had reached a white-hot stage. Back and forth, the battle was very intense. It seemed like the outcome would be decided at any time. The more they fought, the calmer they became. The more they fought, the more incredulous they felt. This was because Ju Feng didn't expect that Longao, who was only a universe undying, would have such abnormal strength. Not only could he be evenly matched with him, but he was even gradually suppressing him. It was a little unbelievable. If this continued, not to mention killing Longao and seizing the treasures in Longao's hands, whether he could escape unscathed would be a big problem. Longao, you forced me to do this. Longao was very surprised. His intuition told him that Ju Feng must have a trump card. After all, as a genius of the Slaughter clan, it would be strange if Ju Feng didn't have some strength. Before Longao and Yu Long could react, Ju Feng began to mumble something. His body released a strange light that instantly enveloped the surrounding space. As if thinking of something, Yu Long's face completely changed. With a look of horror, he said, "Brother Long, let's go. Ju Feng is summoning." Summoning? Summoning what? Longao was very curious. But soon, he thought of something. Under normal circumstances, Ju Feng came from one of the 6 pinnacle clans, the Slaughter clan. If there was no accident, Ju Feng must be summoning someone from the Slaughter clan. Ju Feng was already a peak universe undying. The person summoning him must be stronger than him. Otherwise, it would be meaningless for him to summon someone from the Slaughter clan. There were only 2 possibilities for the person Ju Feng was summoning. The first possibility was that the person summoning was a peak universe undying. The second possibility was that the person summoning was a half-step universe dominator. As for whether there was a half-step universe dominator in the Pinnacle Slaughter clan, it was unknown. Ju Feng's summoning speed was very fast. In just a few seconds, Ju Feng's summoning was successful. Chapter 2532. So what if he summoned them? The Peak Massacre clan must be very far from here. Even if Ju Feng summoned them, it would take a long time for the summoner to arrive. However, since things had already come to this, Longao did not intend to stay any longer. Because Longao knew very well that it would be very difficult for him to kill Ju Feng in the current situation. There was no point in continuing to fight. In that case, it would be better to leave early and find a chance to deal with Ju Feng in the future. But the result? Just as Longao and Yu Long were about to leave, a terrifying force instantly shrouded them. Half-step Starry Sky Dominator. Feeling this power, whether it was Longao or Yu Long, they were very clear about who the owner of this power was. There was no doubt that the person who suddenly arrived must be the one summoned by Ju Feng, and it was a powerful half-step Starry Sky Dominator. The summoning speed was a bit too terrifying. It took less than a few seconds. Before the two could even react, the summoner had already arrived. Who was this person? Longao and Yu Long never expected that the Peak Massacre clan really had a half-step Starry Sky Dominator. An old man appeared instantly. His dignified face was full of vicissitudes of life, and the aura he released was very aggressive. Father! Father! Hearing Ju Feng call the old man father, Longao had already guessed who the old man was. If he was not wrong, the old man should be the clan leader of the Peak Massacre clan. Sure enough. At this time, Yu Long said with his spiritual sense, "Brother Long, let's leave here first." Okay. Longao certainly knew the seriousness of the matter. If they were not careful, they would be in big trouble. Feng, why did you summon me? Zhu Dian, the clan leader of the Peak Massacre clan, was also a half-step Starry Sky Dominator. When Ju Feng was telling the truth, he used his spiritual sense to tell the story in full detail, including all the secrets of Longao. After listening, Zhu Dian's expression did not change at all. However, his heart was already in turmoil because he knew very well what his son meant. Are you Longao? Without waiting for Longao to speak, Zhu Dian continued, You can call me Zhu Dian. I am the patriarch of the Slaughter clan. The two of them had already guessed it. Ever since the 4 Pinnacle races joined forces to defeat the Pinnacle Slaughterer race, the Pinnacle Slaughterer race had never appeared. Although the 4 Pinnacle races had stopped killing other races, they were still not on friendly terms. However, Longao knew very well what it meant to be at the pinnacle of the Slaughterer race. Just Zhu Dian, a half-step Starry Sky ruler, was enough to lead the Peak Slaughterer clan to stand proudly in the starry sky. No one dared to provoke them. Zhu Dian, what do you want? It was a straightforward move without the slightest bit of sloppiness. Zhu Dian nodded approvingly and said with a smile, You're really not bad. Longao, I can give you a chance now. Hand over the secret realm and all the secrets on you. However, you can join my race and I'll do my best to nurture you. How about it? Ju Feng was shocked. He didn't know why his father was doing this, but since his father had already decided, he couldn't say anything. Would Longao agree? If Longao agreed, then he wouldn't be Longao. Longao smiled and said, Thank you for your kindness, but I can't join a race that only knows how to kill. The enmity between me and Ju Feng will not end until one of us is dead. Not end until one of us is dead. These 4 words had already expressed Longao's attitude. After saying this, Zhu Jian didn't continue to say anything because Longao's attitude had already made it clear. No matter how much nonsense he said, it would be useless. He laughed sinisterly, and his laughter was very strange. Longao, I have to admit that you're really arrogant. For so many years, no one has dared to speak to me like this. You're the first. However, it doesn't matter. I have a way to make you obediently hand over the secrets. Soul search. This was especially true for a pinnacle expert like Zhu Jian. Once he killed Longao and Yulong, he could use soul search to learn everything he wanted to know. Zhu Jian was very confident about this. Yulong, you leave first. If we leave together. If we stay together. How could Yulong agree when he heard Longao's spiritual sense transmission asking him to leave alone? If he abandoned Longao and left alone, would he still be human? He was determined not to leave. Longao, however, was extremely anxious. He impatiently transmitted with his spiritual sense, Yulong, listen to me. You have to leave and return to the Empire now. You have to help me guard the Empire. I have the Starry Sky divine tool. I will be fine, and my Empire must be fine. It was better to be safe than sorry. If the Pinnacle Massacre race started to attack his Empire and Zhu Jian locked onto the Empire, then it would be extremely troublesome. This was because the current Empire was still unable to contend against the Pinnacle Massacre race. After all, the person who had devoured the Primal Chaos Tablet had yet to truly refine it and become a Star God ruler. Yulong naturally knew what Longao meant. This was the only thing he could do. Thinking of this, Yulong turned around and prepared to leave. Do you want to leave? Can't I? Being questioned by Longao, Zhu Jian was a little stunned. This was because he still didn't know about Longao's remarkable abilities, especially the fact that Longao could shatter the starry sky. If he knew, who knew what Zhu Jian would think? After all, almost no one in the vast starry sky could break open a crack in the starry sky. Longao was definitely the first person to do so. Of course, Yulong didn't care at all. With Longao's help, he would definitely be able to leave. The only thing he needed to do now was to rush back to the Soaring Dragon Empire as quickly as possible and inform the people of the Empire to be on guard. This way, he would truly be able to help Longao. As soon as Yulong took his first step, Zhu Jian had already made his move. However, at this time, Longao had already attacked with the Primal Chaos Axe in his hand. This was because he knew very well that he only had one chance. This way, he could create a better opportunity for Yulong. Otherwise, once Zhu Jian reacted, it would be much more difficult for Yulong to leave. The first Primal Chaos 9 axes, Hell Devour. Before Zhu Jian could make his move or even react, the surrounding starry sky suddenly trembled violently. Moreover, black cracks appeared in the starry sky, madly devouring everything. It looked extremely terrifying. Zhu Jian was completely stunned because he didn't expect Longao to be able to shatter the starry sky. In his shock, he had already forgotten that Yulong wanted to leave. Until now, Zhu Jian finally understood why his son had summoned him. Unless it was a last resort, he believed that his son wouldn't summon him. Chapter 2533. How did Longao do it? He couldn't figure it out. However, Zhu Jian's greed had reached its peak because he knew what it meant to be able to shatter the starry sky. If he could obtain such a heaven-defying secret, his strength would rise to another level. As for Yulong's life and death, Zhu Jian and Zhu Feng didn't care at all. Although Yulong's departure would make them lose face, they just needed to trap Longao. Zhu Jian's speed was very fast and he instantly dodged the space crack. His face was full of greed. Longao, I can give up the secret realm, but you have to tell me the secret. How about it? Trash. Since they were going to fight, there was no point in talking nonsense. This battle was unavoidable. Longao held the Primal Chaos Axe and once again slashed at Zhu Jian. In fact, Longao could enter the Primal Chaos Palace, but he had to create more time for Yulong to leave. Otherwise, with Zhu Jian's speed, he couldn't guarantee that he could catch up to Yulong. 3 minutes was enough. With the Primal Chaos 9 axes and the Primal Chaos axe, even Zhu Jian couldn't do anything to Longao. The more they fought, the more shocked they became. The more they fought, the more incredulous they felt. Zhu Jian never thought that a puny starry sky immortal could not only fight against him, but also bring him so much trouble. Because even with Zhu Jian's strength, he didn't dare to face the space crack head-on. He was very clear that if he was swallowed by the space crack, he would die without a doubt. In just an instant, the three of them fought again. 1 against 2, Longao didn't retreat half a step. Instead, he pressed on. Zhu Feng and Zhu Qiong attacked crazily from left and right. One was a peak starry sky immortal and the other was a half-step starry sky ruler. One could imagine their power when they joined forces. Even though Longao's cultivation had successfully broken through to the starry sky immortal realm and cultivated the primal chaos 9 axes, he gradually felt that he couldn't hold on against two opponents. In the blink of an eye, dozens of minutes had passed. Longao was sure that Yu Long had left. Even if he chose to disappear now, Zhu Jian and Zhu Feng wouldn't be able to catch up to him. There was nothing wrong with continuing to fight, other than wasting his time. If it was just Zhu Feng alone, Longao might still have a chance. However, with the addition of Zhu Jian, the last remaining chance was gone. He disappeared in an instant. Right under the eyes of Zhu Feng and Zhu Jian, Longao disappeared without a trace. What exactly happened? Zhu Feng, of course, had seen Longao in such a state before. He also knew that Longao possessed a heaven-defying starry sky spirit artifact. But just now, he thought that with his father's appearance, he would be able to capture Longao easily. But he never imagined that even his father couldn't keep Longao here. Is this true? And it was still something unbelievable. Feng does Longao have a space god artifact? He nodded. Father, I'm sorry. I forgot to tell you that Longao has a heaven-defying starry sky divine tool. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to contend against the 9 starry sky empires. By now, Zhu Feng was very clear about Longao's identity. He never imagined that Longao was such a legend. However, in his heart, he thought that Longao's strength wasn't that great. Instead, he had various divine abilities, including a space god artifact. Otherwise, with his strength alone, let alone 1 against 9, Longao would undoubtedly die in a one-on-one battle. Not daring to hide anything, Zhu Feng recounted everything that had happened and what he had heard in detail. After listening, Zhu Jian wasn't as angry as he had imagined. Father. Waving his hand, Zhu Jian, of course, knew what his son wanted to say. He smiled and said, "It seems that this Longao is very mysterious. If we can capture him, it will be very important for us." Zhu Feng wasn't so optimistic. Each of the 9 starry sky empires of the human race had a half-step starry sky ruler overseeing them. One could imagine how powerful they were. Zhu Feng still voiced his worries because the situation wasn't optimistic. If they could trap Longao, why would they wait for the two of them? He believed that the 9 starry sky empires would have already taken action. Zhu Jian nodded in agreement and said, "You've said a lot. Apart from that, our identities can't be leaked. It seems that we have to think carefully about what to do." Zhu Jian and Zhu Feng didn't continue to lock onto them because the two of them knew very well that even if they continued to stay, there wouldn't be much point. After confirming that the two of them had left, Longao, who was in the Primal Chaos Palace, quietly appeared. Fortunately, the Primal Chaos Palace was protecting him. Otherwise, who knew how many times he would have died? Longao looked in the direction that the two of them had left. He knew very well that if he didn't get rid of Zhu Jian and Zhu Feng, they would definitely come looking for him. Of course, Longao wasn't too worried about himself. He was only afraid that the Peak Massacre race would deal with the Empire behind him. After all, no one in the Empire could truly refine the Primal Chaos Tablet and become a starry sky ruler. He was confident that as long as he didn't reveal the Empire's whereabouts, it wouldn't be easy for someone to find the Empire's whereabouts. However, if the Empire was discovered by the Peak Massacre race, then things would be really bad. In order to prevent such a thing from happening, He had to get rid of Zhu Jian and Zhu Feng as soon as possible to prevent any future troubles. However, as one of the 6 major races, the Peak Massacre race's strength was obvious. Back then, they were able to fight against 10,000 people and contend against the entire vast starry sky. This was enough to explain everything. Longao's face was very solemn. He originally wanted to deal with the Peak Dragon race with all his strength and help Yulong take back the Peak Dragon race. However, now it seemed that he couldn't devote himself to the Peak Dragon race. What should he do? In the end, his strength was still not enough. Although his cultivation base had smoothly broken through to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm, he was still dumbfounded when he encountered a half-step Starry Sky ruler. Even if he used the Primal Chaos Axe and the Primal Chaos 9 axes, he wouldn't have any chance of killing the other party. However, if his cultivation base could reach a higher level and break through to the Peak Starry Sky Immortal Realm, then even if he didn't have a secret technique to protect himself, he could still fight and even suppress a half-step Starry Sky ruler with the Primal Chaos Axe and the Primal Chaos 9 axes. It had taken more than 200 years to break through from the Starry Sky Legend Realm to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm. Longao didn't know how long it would take for him to break through to the Peak Starry Sky Immortal Realm. Time waits for no one. It seemed that his top priority now was to do everything possible to break through his current realm as soon as possible. Chapter 2534. Soaring Dragon Empire. Seeing Longao return safely, Yulong finally let out a sigh of relief. After explaining the situation, Longao got up and left. Yulong didn't have any unwillingness. He had waited for so long, a few more days wouldn't hurt. Taking a step back. Even if he and Longao went to the Peak Dragon clan together, they wouldn't be able to shake the Peak Dragon clan. If it was before, it would be impossible for him to kill Yu Bubai and take back the Peak Dragon clan. But now, the situation was different. Longao's cultivation speed was there. According to this cultivation speed, it would not be long before Longao's strength would stand at the true peak. Wait. There was only one way, and that was to wait. Wait for Longao to become strong, or wait for Xiling and the others to refine the Primal Chaos Tablet and become a space dominator. Then, he would be able to take back the Peak Dragon clan. Longao didn't tell anyone about the Peak Slaughter clan. He didn't want others to worry about it. 3 days later, news came from the vast space that someone had found the white-clothed girl and the crystal coffin. Everyone came because everyone knew what the white-clothed girl and the crystal coffin meant. Controlling the white-clothed girl was equivalent to obtaining primal chaos power. Not to mention normal space cultivators, even the 10 space dominators and 9 half-space dominators wouldn't give up. Longao also received the news. After 3 years together, he didn't want anything to happen to the white-clothed girl. The destination of the news was the first plane, where Bai Jing was. The white-clothed girl appeared in her plane. Bai Jing didn't know if she should be happy or not. Even Bai Jing hoped that she could control the white-clothed girl. Because she couldn't devour the Primal Chaos Tablet, controlling the white-clothed girl seemed to be her only hope. What Bai Jing was worried about was the appearance of the white-clothed girl. She believed that countless people would come and a huge battle would be unavoidable. Strike first and gain the upper hand. With Bai Jing as the leader, Bai Hua led the 3 Space Eagles to lock onto the white-clothed girl. However, Bai Jing and the others were very afraid of the white-clothed girl. Although the white-clothed girl was not in her right mind, she would still occasionally attack. As the ruler of the stars who controlled the power of chaos, the white-clothed girl's strength was clear for all to see. Although it was just an occasional attack, it was believed that no one could withstand it. Back then, even the Oracle was unable to withstand a single blow from the white-clothed girl. From this, one could imagine just how powerful the white-clothed girl was. Longao rushed to the first plane as fast as he could. About a few hours later, Longao had already arrived at the first realm and began to search for the white-clothed girl with all his might. Kang Lin's tracks were erratic. Until now, no one had been able to pinpoint the exact location of the white-clothed girl. Longao had yet to find the white-robed young girl, but had instead encountered Bai Hua and the 3 starry skies eagles. As for where Bai Jing had gone, he had no idea. Whether it was Bai Hua or the 3 space eagles, they were all true peak star sky immortals. If the 4 of them worked together, even Longao would feel a headache. Longao? Looking at Longao not far away, the 4 exchanged glances. The 4 of them naturally knew why Longao had suddenly appeared here. If they were not mistaken, Longao must have come for the white-clothed girl and the crystal coffin. Longao did not speak, only coldly looking at the 4 in front of him. Longao. Longao did not bother to pay attention to the 4. He had stepped into the first plane mainly to find Kang Lin. As for other matters, now was not the time to deal with them. But could Longao leave smoothly? Bai Hua and the other 3 had finally found Longao with great difficulty. If they chose to give up so easily, then the 4 of them would no longer be 4 people. Bai Hua and the other 3 faced the sky and laughed. Although they did not speak, their actions spoke for themselves. North, south, east, and west. Bai Hua and the 3 space eagles madly attacked Longao from all 4 directions. If they could get rid of Longao at this time, then the 4 of them would become famous in the vast starry sky. Since Longao's rise, no one, not even the 9 half-step starry sky rulers, could successfully kill Longao. Courting death. Longao sneered. Holding the primal chaos axe, he instantly used the first axe of the primal chaos 9 axes, Hell Devour. The cold hell instantly enveloped the 4. Before the 4 of them could react, cracks appeared in the starry sky around them, constantly roaring and roaring. The 4 of them were completely frightened. The 4 of them did not care much about Longao's cultivation breakthrough. In their opinion, whether Longao was a starry sky legend or a starry sky immortal, it was all the same. In their eyes, Longao was nothing. If Longao did not rely on the starry sky god tool and relied on his own strength, he would not have survived until now. The 4 of them found that Longao's heaven-defying divine ability seemed to have become stronger again. Whether it was the power or the accuracy, it was far superior to before. Even the 4 of them did not dare to face the cracks in the starry sky head-on. With their strength, if they were swallowed by the cracks, they would undoubtedly die. The 4 of them were frightened. Even if Longao's divine ability was heaven-defying, it was impossible for him to fight 1 against 4. However, shattering the starry sky was indeed heaven-defying. It would be a lie to say that they were not afraid. Under normal circumstances, 1 against 4, especially Universe Undyings against 4 peak Universe Undyings, 1 would definitely die. However, Longao's situation was completely different. He had a heaven-defying god art. Not only did he not lose, but he was also closing in. The 4 of them looked gloomy, because if this situation continued, even if the 4 of them didn't lose, this matter would be considered as extremely embarrassing. After all, Longao was only 1 person, and he was only an immortal. The gap between him and the 4 of them was too big. Counterattack. The 4 of them, who were being pressured by Longao, seemed to be stimulated and began to counterattack crazily. In this way, Longao began to struggle. However, according to the current situation, neither side could do anything to the other. Whether it was Bai Hua, the 4 of them, or Longao, they were all aware of this situation. They were very depressed. As peak starry sky immortals, the 4 of them were strong enough to look down on the starry sky. However, they were helpless against a mere starry sky immortal. It was really unbelievable. Thinking of this, the 4 of them decided that no matter what happened, they would do whatever it took to keep Longao here. Otherwise, they would not be able to answer to the great ancestor. If it was the previous Longao, he might have been defeated. However, with the improvement of his cultivation base, the current Longao was not the same as before. P.S. All 5 chapters have been delivered. Chapter 25-35. The more they fought, the more anxious they became. Bai Hua and the others gradually lost their confidence. Although they were unwilling, they knew very well that if they kept fighting like this, there wouldn't be any results. It would just be a waste of time. What should they do? Should they just give up? They were unwilling. The Four's attacks became more and more frantic. Even so, Longao still countered every move, and even brought danger to them several times. Longao, the Green Mountain will not change, the green water will flow forever, we will meet again. In desperation. The Four could only choose to leave first and wait for this matter to be reported to the old ancestor to decide how to deal with it. Longao was no longer the same as before. Even if the Four joined forces, they couldn't trap Longao. Longao also didn't intend to keep them. If it was a one-on-one situation, he might be able to kill them. However, 1 against 10, Longao knew his limits. Not to mention, he didn't enter the first plane to start a war with the #1 Starry Sky Empire. His real goal was to lock onto Kang Lin's location. No matter what, he had to find Kang Lin first. In the distance, the Four's expression was very gloomy because until now, they hadn't reacted. Even if Longao's cultivation base had smoothly broken through to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm, his strength seemed to be a bit too powerful. If it was only Longao's strength, it would be fine. However, the most depressing thing was that Longao's Shatter Starry Sky was a heaven-defying sacred art. It hadn't been seen for many years, and it was even more powerful than before. The three of you, what do you think we should do now? How could the 3 Starry Sky Eagles not know what Baihua meant? If this matter was told to the old ancestor, not to mention whether the old ancestor would blame them, they would lose face. 3 peak Starry Sky Immortal Realm experts working together couldn't even deal with a small Starry Sky Immortal Realm expert, it was simply too embarrassing. Before this, as everyone knew, the reason why the 9 great Starry Sky Empires couldn't deal with Longao was because Longao had a heaven-defying Starry Sky God tool. Not to mention ordinary Starry Sky cultivators, even 9 half-step Starry Sky rulers couldn't lock onto Longao's heaven-defying Starry Sky divine weapon. If Longao hid in a Starry Sky spirit artifact, then it would be fine. But now, that was not the case at all. From the beginning to the end, Longao did not enter the Starry Sky spirit artifact. Instead, he chose to face them head-on. The difference in strength between the two sides was clear at a glance. In a head-on clash, neither of them had successfully killed Longao. It was a great humiliation. It was a complete humiliation. Sky Eagle thought for a moment before replying in a solemn voice, based on my guess, Longao must have had a fortuitous encounter over the years. The 3 of them did not say anything, but they all nodded in agreement. Other than that, they couldn't think of any other possibility. Longao is only at the Starry Sky Immortal Realm now. If he breaks through to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm, then even if the 4 of us join forces, we won't be his match. Sky Eagle did not finish his words. What he meant was that based on Longao's current strength, once Longao successfully broke through to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm, then even if the 4 of them joined forces, they would still be no match for Longao. When that time came, the result of a head-on clash could be imagined. Hearing Sky Eagle's words, the other 3's faces grew gloomier, because they had also thought of this. But since things have come to this, we'd better tell Master the truth. The 3 nodded. As Longao stepped into the first plane, countless people, including other half-step Starry Sky rulers and Starry Sky rulers, came one after another, frantically trying to locate the white-clothed girl. And the result? The white-clothed girl seemed to have evaporated from the world, and no one could locate her at all. The 9 half-step Starry Sky rulers would definitely choose to form an alliance to find Longao, but now that the white-clothed girl was tempting them, it was already good enough that the 9 of them did not fight each other. It was impossible for them to continue forming an alliance. Each of them formed their own camp, hoping to find the white-clothed girl in the shortest time possible. Time passed by little by little. Unknowingly, 3 months had passed as time passed by. Some people had seen the white-clothed girl, but she was too fast, and no one could catch up to her. Fortunately, the white-clothed girl was not in her right mind, otherwise, no one would dare to approach her. Even the oracle was no match for the white-clothed girl. One could only imagine how powerful the white-clothed girl was. After 3 months of searching. In the end, Everyone chased the white-clothed girl to a mysterious valley. There was no plane around, and it was very eerie and terrifying. But even so, countless people came one after another. The reason was simple: everyone wanted to control the white-clothed girl, and then take the Chaos Stone Tablet, Crystal Coffin, and control the Chaos Energy. Be it the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet or the Primal Chaos Energy, both were simply too tempting. Not only that, but the main reason why everyone dared to chase after the white-clothed girl was because the white-clothed girl wasn't in a clear state of mind. Aside from occasionally attacking, she was like a wooden puppet. Outside the mysterious valley, surrounded by black fog, one could feel a terrifying aura from the valley without even stepping into it. And according to everyone's guess, although it was a valley, it was equivalent to a plane. If not for the white-clothed girl, no one would have discovered this mysterious plane. All the powerhouses of the 9 great starry sky empires were present, but none of the 12 starry sky rulers were present. No one knew whether the starry sky rulers were here or not, but even if they were, no one cared. Because if they were lucky, once they controlled the white-clothed girl and obtained her Chaos Stone Tablet, they could soar to the sky. At that time, they could ignore the starry sky rulers and become the strongest powerhouse in the vast starry sky. Longao did not disguise himself this time, but stood openly outside the mysterious plane. That's Longao. He dared to fight against the 9 great starry sky empires alone, and he's still alive. If I didn't see him with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe it. According to the rumors, Longao's strength is not that great, and he seems to be just a legend. The reason he dared to fight against the 9 great starry sky empires is because he has a heaven-defying cosmic artifact. Even a half-step starry sky ruler can't lock onto this heaven-defying cosmic artifact. If I can get my hands on such a heaven-defying cosmic artifact, how great would that be? Just thinking about it makes me excited. Chapter 2536. Discussions broke out all around. Longao didn't care at all. Instead, he stared at the mysterious valley in front of him. Even he could clearly sense that the mysterious valley in front of him wasn't simple at all. If he casually stepped in, he might even die inside, let alone locate Kang Lin's location. Longao's fear was the same as everyone else's. If it were any other time, Longao's appearance would definitely lead to the joint attack of the 9 great starry sky empires. However, the situation now was very different. The white-clothed girl was more important. They had to deal with her first. As for Longao, they could deal with him later. The mysterious valley was right in front of them, but no one dared to step in. A mysterious place. Father, do we have to stay here forever? Yi Dugu was very depressed because he didn't know what was in the mysterious valley. Even his father didn't dare to step in casually. He was very curious. Even if his father hadn't truly mastered the power of chaos, he could definitely go anywhere in the vast starry sky with his strength. In that case, what was going on? He couldn't figure it out. He really couldn't figure it out. The marvelous mathematician's face was very solemn. After so many years, there weren't many things that could make the marvelous mathematician like this. Dugu, I know what you're thinking. However, the mysterious valley before us is actually a mysterious plane. Although I haven't set foot in it yet, I can say with certainty that there seems to be something in this mysterious plane. Even I don't dare to casually set foot in it. Ah! After hearing his father's words, Yi Dugu was completely stunned. He never thought that his father would say such a thing. Didn't this mean that the mysterious plane in front of them was a great deterrent to his father? If he hadn't heard it from his father's own mouth, he would have found it hard to believe. Father, what should we do now? After thinking for a while, the marvelous mathematician said, the white-clothed girl must have temporarily lost her consciousness because of something. Therefore, we don't have much time. Even Yi Dugu had thought of this point. Because of this, Yi Dugu knew very well that they had to find the white-clothed girl as soon as possible. According to the current situation, the longer they delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for them. To be on the safe side, let's not step in. I believe it won't be long before the white-clothed girl comes out. Master God Diviner's intentions were clear. As long as the white-clothed girl appeared, no one present would be her match. There was no need to take risks. No one from the 9 Great Starry Sky Empire dared to enter the mysterious valley, but that did not mean that no one dared to enter. As time slowly passed, some people could no longer sit still. They stood up and headed towards the mysterious valley. If there was a first, there would be a second. If there was a second, there would be a third, a fourth, and even a fifth, sixth, and seventh. Many people began to appear in the surroundings, and they all rushed madly into the mysterious valley. One after another, they looked densely packed. Ancestor, what should we do now? Seeing everyone enter the mysterious valley, including Longao, Baihua could no longer sit still. If the white-clothed girl was controlled by someone else, they wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. However, Bai Jing shook her head and said, "The mysterious plane before us is very dangerous. Let alone us, even the ruler of stars wouldn't dare to set foot on it." Bai Jing wasn't stupid. She knew that even astral ruler wouldn't dare go there. She believed that the mysterious plane must be dangerous. If even astral ruler was afraid of it, then there was no need for her and the others to be afraid. Baihua seemed to want to say something, but in the end, she swallowed her words. She had the same idea as Bai Jing. The other half-step astral rulers also didn't casually step into the mysterious plane. They also strictly ordered their people to not step into the mysterious plane without permission. Even so, there were still countless people who stepped into the mysterious plane, including Longao. Under normal circumstances, he would definitely not step into it. But the situation was completely different now. With so many people entering the mysterious plane, if Kang Lin was unlucky and was controlled by these people, then he wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. It was with this in mind that Longao stepped into the mysterious plane without hesitation. Even if he knew that the mysterious plane was dangerous, he still chose to enter. Knowing that there were tigers in the mountain, he still went to the mountain. When everyone stepped into the mysterious valley, black fog lingered around them. Even with their strength, they still couldn't see the situation around them. In this case, they could only go by instinct, but it was more about luck than strength. If they were lucky, not only would they be able to enter smoothly, they might even be able to control the white-robed girl. If they were unlucky, then not only would they not be able to control the white-robed girl, they might not even be able to leave this place alive. The people who entered the mysterious valley were not fools. Since the people of the 9 Starry Sky Empires did not dare to casually enter, they believed that there must be danger inside. Because of this, without the deterrence of the 9 Starry Sky Empires, the people who entered wanted to try their luck. Longao purposely distanced himself from the crowd. He had the protection of the Chaos Palace. No matter what danger it was, as long as he stepped into the Chaos Palace, he believed that he would be safe. Step by step, Longao didn't dare to be careless. He focused 120% of his attention. Even he couldn't sense the situation around him. He could only rely on his instincts to move forward step by step. Step by step, step by step, step by step. They didn't know how many steps they had taken, but there was still no movement around them. The more it was like this, the more they didn't dare to be careless. After all, no one knew what was going on. It was better to be safe than sorry. Gang Mu, Yi Chong, Jin Chen, Hua Lily. Looking at the 4 of them, Longao's face changed. Enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. He hadn't expected to meet his enemies here. Gang Mu and the other 3 were peak Starry Sky immortals. Other than the half-step Starry Sky rulers and Starry Sky rulers, the 4 of them were the strongest in this place. It would be a lie if he said that he wasn't worried. This was because Longao knew very well that if the 4 of them found Kang Lin while she was still unconscious, things would become very troublesome. If it was a one-on-one battle, of course, he wouldn't be afraid of anyone. However, if it was a 1-on-4 battle, then even he wouldn't be able to successfully kill all 4 of them. At most, he would be able to win. Kill the 4 of them first. At the thought of this, Longao didn't continue on his way. Instead, he followed them silently. Chapter 2537. The four of them had been locking onto Longao's position, but until now, there had been no news. However, after many days of locking onto him, the four of them finally understood the legend of Longao. They were very surprised. Because the four of them never imagined that Longao would be so arrogant. 1 against 9, going against 9 great starry sky empires. If it were anyone else, they believed that they would have been killed by the 9 great starry sky empires. Only Longao, with his heaven-defying starry sky divine artifact, could ignore anyone's lock-on, including half-step starry sky rulers. The four of them discovered Longao outside, but under such circumstances, the four of them forced themselves to endure. The best plan was to deal with the white-robed girl first. Even the four of them couldn't resist the temptation of the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet and Primal Chaos Power. The four of them didn't know that Longao was following them. In their opinion, it was already very good that they didn't go looking for Longao. Even if Longao was given 10,000 guts, they believed that Longao wouldn't dare to take the initiative to come looking for them. Be careful. Just as the four of them kept moving forward, they suddenly sensed that someone was attacking them from behind. The four of them were completely stunned. Because the four of them never imagined that someone would dare to sneak attack them with their strength. This was simply courting death. The four of them reacted pretty well, forcibly dodging the attack. Terrifying cracks in the starry sky began to appear around them, roaring and roaring. Shattering the starry sky? The four of them didn't even need to turn their heads to guess who the person who ambushed the four of them was. Because in the entire vast starry sky, other than Longao who could do this, they really couldn't figure out who could do this. Besides Longao, perhaps even the 12 starry sky rulers and 9 half-step starry sky rulers couldn't do this. Shattering the starry sky, Longao could be said to be unprecedented. Longao. Looking at Longao in front of them, the faces of the four people were gloomy to the extreme. It was as ugly as it could get. Because the four of them didn't expect that Longao would really sneak attack them. This was simply courting death. Longao smiled. The four of you, it's been a while since we last met. It seems like you've been doing well. Courting death. The faces of the four people became increasingly gloomy. Longao was a great humiliation to them, because under normal circumstances, not to mention the four of them joining forces, even if any one of them appeared, it would be easy to deal with a starry sky legend. Even if Longao had successfully broken through to the starry sky immortal realm, he was still no match for the four of them. But what was the result? Previously, they had tried to kill Longao several times, but they had not succeeded. If this wasn't a great humiliation, then what was? He felt helpless. Longao, we don't have time to waste with you at this time. After this matter is over, we will naturally look for you. The intentions of the four were clear. Although killing Longao was very important, compared to the white-clothed girl, it was not even worth mentioning. Regarding the four people's intentions, how could Longao not know? The more they acted like this, the more Longao would not let them go. Even if he couldn't kill the four of them with his strength, it was more than enough to delay them. As for the white-clothed girl's safety, Longao was not worried at all. If something had happened to the white-clothed girl, he believed that something would have happened long ago instead of waiting until now. Cut the weeds and eliminate the roots. This time, Longao did not say much nonsense. With a stride, he rushed out. Before he arrived, his terrifying strength had already arrived. It was impossible for Longao to be a match for the four of them. However, with the primal chaos axe in his hand, Longao's strength would probably double. The terrifying starry sky crack roared and crazily swallowed the four of them. The four of them were completely dumbfounded. Of course, the four of them knew that Longao could shatter the starry sky. However, they had not expected that Longao's shattering starry sky would be this strong. Even the four of them did not dare to take it head-on. After all, if they were swallowed by the starry sky crack, they would definitely die. If they said that they weren't wary, they would be lying. At the end of the day, the four of them were still duped by Longao. Retreating continuously, they did not want to take it head-on with Longao as they turned around and left hurriedly. Because of Longao's sudden interference, The four of them could no longer care about whether there was any danger in the valley. Their speed increased to the maximum. When the surrounding people saw this, they were afraid that the four of them would find the white-clothed girl first. Hence, their speed increased as well. Each of them had their own ulterior motives. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Longao did not say anything as he laughed out maniacally. The meaning behind his laughter was clear. The faces of the four of them were extremely terrible right now. However, the shattering starry sky that the other party had just used was simply way too scary. If it were any other time, they would have just taken it head-on. But right now, be it because of fear or the white-clothed girl, none of them wanted to take it head-on. The speed of the four of them was pushed to the maximum. Coupled with this mysterious valley, it didn't take long for the four of them to disappear without a trace. Longao did not continue chasing after them. Since he had already stepped into this valley, he would definitely bump into them later on. No matter what happened this time around, he had to kill the four of them smoothly. He had to ensure that there would be no future troubles. Countless people stepped into the mysterious valley and rushed towards the only passageway in a frenzy. Everyone's speed was extremely fast. About an hour later, in front of everyone was no longer the passageway of the valley. Instead, it was a boundless plain. It was similar to an ordinary plain. Everyone stepped into the plain one by one. Looking at their surroundings, everyone's faces were filled with shock. Everyone, including Longao, was a little surprised because this realm didn't seem to have any problems on the surface. However, after sensing it just now, the aura here was very special. Once it was forcefully inhaled, this aura would even erode his bloodline and spirit. With his cultivation base at this level, Longao was naturally able to swallow the airflow outside. Originally, he had been following the four of them, hoping that he could successfully kill them. However, after entering this realm, he could no longer find any trace of the four of them. Sensing left and right, Longao repeatedly confirmed that he still couldn't find any trace of the four of them. It wasn't an easy task to lock onto the position of the four of them in such a large realm. He shrugged helplessly. Since he had temporarily lost track of the four of them, he might as well lock onto Kang Lin's position now. He was very concerned about Kang Lin's safety. Thinking of this, Longao did not hesitate at all. With a stride, his speed was extremely fast. In a short while, he had already disappeared without a trace. After everyone stepped into the realm, they scattered to look around. Under such circumstances, to find the white-clothed girl's trace, it wasn't relying on strength but luck. Strength alone was not enough. Chapter 2538. Mysterious Plain. In a very hidden and dense forest, a white figure appeared in a flash. Its speed was as fast as a shooting star. Right at this moment, a huge crystal coffin stretched across the depths of the dense forest. Kang Lin stood quietly in front of the crystal coffin, staring at it. There was no one around, only towering trees. Kang Lin was still in a daze. Her eyes were empty and she was still delirious. Finally, someone found traces of the white-clothed girl. As time slowly passed, more and more people gathered here. At a glance, there were people everywhere. However, even if they found the white-clothed girl, no one dared to casually take a step forward. Longao, Gang Mu, and the other three had also rushed here. Longao's situation was different from the others. He could approach Kang Lin without fear, but he didn't do so because he didn't want others to know about his relationship with Kang Lin. Longao discovered Gang Mu and the other three, and they also discovered Longao. However, neither side made a move. Wait and see. Everyone was waiting for an opportunity because no one could be sure that the white-clothed girl wouldn't make a move. If she did, then no one here would be able to withstand her attack. There was no doubt about it. What should we do? Who knows? Although we've already locked onto the white-clothed girl's position, her strength is there for all to see. Even the diviner couldn't resist her, let alone us. There was a lot of discussion in the surroundings. Before locking onto the white-clothed girl, Everyone hoped that they could lock onto her first. However, when they really locked onto her position, no one dared to casually take a step forward. In the end, they were still afraid of the white-clothed girl. Since the white-clothed girl didn't move, no one dared to move. Just like that, they waited and waited. Time passed bit by bit. After an unknown period of time, some people finally couldn't wait any longer. One after another, they moved towards the white-clothed girl at an extremely fast speed. With the first person, there would be a second person, a third person, a fourth person, and even a fifth person. At a glance, there were at least a few hundred people swarming towards her. They thought that the white-clothed girl was delirious and would definitely fall into their hands. However, the result shocked everyone. The white-clothed girl still didn't move. However, anyone who approached the white-clothed girl was enveloped by a mysterious white light before they could even react. They disappeared without a trace. The mysterious white light was released from the crystal coffin. Everyone was scared silly. What was the crystal coffin? It released such a terrifying white light. None of the people who were enveloped by it were spared and turned into smoke. Looking at the hundreds of people who had already fallen, everyone retreated. One after another. Faces of shock. Faces of disbelief. Longao was also a little shocked, because he never thought that the white light released from the crystal coffin would be so terrifying. From this, it could be seen that the crystal coffin was definitely not simple. What Longao thought of, the others also thought of. Apart from shock, there was more greed on everyone's faces. Aside from the white-clothed girl's chaos tablet and chaos force, the crystal coffin was also a treasure that everyone wanted to obtain. This was because the power that the crystal coffin had just displayed was simply too tempting. With the previous example, no one dared to take a step closer to him. It would be a lie to say that they weren't afraid. Longao still didn't make a move. Instead, he felt relieved. Previously, he was afraid that someone could really control Kang Lin. But now, he didn't have any worries. The best thing to do now was to not do anything. That way, it might be beneficial to both him and Kang Lin. The dense forest started to slowly turn dark. The surrounding airflow also started to turn dark red. One could almost see it with the naked eye. What the hell happened? No one knew. However, those who dared to step into the mysterious valley weren't easy to deal with. There were almost no cultivators below grade 9 starry sky cultivators. Everyone became extra careful as they carefully sensed the changes in the airflow around them. This was because everyone could clearly sense that the surroundings were a little different. No one knew what was going on. Where is she? Everyone looked at the situation in the distance and felt shocked. They were all dumbfounded and didn't know what to say. The white-clothed girl and the crystal coffin had disappeared into thin air right under their noses. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they would have found it hard to believe. Not to mention the others, even Longao didn't know what had happened. Because he had been staring at Kang Lin and the crystal coffin. But even so, they still disappeared without a trace. However, Longao didn't have the slightest worry because he had full confidence that Kang Lin would be fine. Otherwise, something would have happened to Kang Lin during the time she was away. Where did Kang Lin go? Anyway, he didn't know where Kang Lin went. Longao pointed the spearhead at Gang Mu and the other three. He could take advantage of this opportunity to get rid of as many of them as possible. If he was lucky, he could get rid of all 4 of them at once. That would be great for him. However, this time, Longao learned his lesson and didn't make a move directly. He was too careless before and was discovered by the 4 at first glance. In the end, he didn't manage to do anything. No matter what happened, he had to succeed this time. Even if he could only kill one of them, it would be worth it. Connecting to the Primal Chaos Palace, Longao was ready at any time. Even if there was danger, as long as he entered the Primal Chaos Palace, not to mention the 4 of them joining forces, even a Starry Sky Ruler or a half-step Starry Sky Ruler wouldn't be able to do anything to him. Others might not know about the power of the Primal Chaos Palace, but how could he not know about it? The Primal Chaos Axe appeared in his right hand and Longao used spatial teleportation. It only took him 2 spatial teleportations to appear behind the 4. If it was under normal circumstances, the 4 of them would have discovered Longao's trace immediately. However, the current situation was a bit special. The 4 of them were all focused on the white-clothed girl and the crystal coffin. It was precisely because of this that Longao seized this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make a move. While the 4 of them were still thinking about the white-clothed girl, the surrounding space began to tremble violently. The 4 of them instantly thought of something and immediately began to dodge. However, this time, Longao thought it through and decided to concentrate on one of them. Among the 4 of them, Longao directly chose Huabolai. He attacked with all his strength. The terrifying primal chaos 9 axes, the first axe, Hell Devouring, directly covered Huabolai. Chapter 2539. Ah! Save me! Save me! Huaburi was caught off guard and was hit by Longao's attack. His body was instantly enveloped by the space crack. Although Longao had just broken through to the Starry Sky Undying realm, his strength wasn't any weaker than a peak Starry Sky Undying. Plus, he had the primal Chaos Axe and Chaos 9 axes, as well as grasping space. Gang Mu and the other 2 stared blankly at the scene before them. None of them dared to move. The 3 were completely shocked. Of course, they knew how powerful the space crack was, but they didn't expect Longao's strength to be so terrifying. Under one move, Huaburi didn't even have a chance to fight back. Endless pain. Miserable screams echoed throughout the dense forest. Many people were looking in this direction. Without exception, everyone who saw this scene turned pale with fright. The surrounding starry sky fissures devoured Huablizi, not giving him any chance to fight back at all as they madly devoured him. Just like that. Huaburi was devoured bit by the surrounding space cracks. In just a few seconds, Huaburi disappeared without a trace. Killing Huaburi with one move, was this real? However, Huaburi was a true peak Starry Sky Undying. Even if a peak Starry Sky Undying sneak attacked him, it was impossible to kill him. It was something that was impossible, but it had become possible for Longao. They swallowed their saliva. Gang Mu and the other 2 were still unable to react. Longao, you. Longao waved his hand, stopping Gang Mu from speaking. He sneered. Gang Mu, Yi Chong, Jin Chen, the grudge between you and me has reached a point where only one of us can live. Even if I don't kill you, I believe you won't let me go. Am I right? No one in the surroundings moved an inch. On one side were 3 peak Starry Sky Undying, on the other was a super genius who had just killed a peak Starry Sky Undying. Neither side was easy to provoke. Both sides stared at each other. Not to mention others, even Longao was surprised. He didn't expect that he could kill Huaburi with one move. He was pleasantly surprised. At the same time, he was excited. Under normal circumstances, even if he was strong enough to kill a pinnacle universe Undying, it would still take a long time. However, the biggest reason why Lin Fan could kill Huabli with a single move was because of his carelessness. He heaved a sigh of relief. Since then, he could easily ambush them again. As long as he did so carefully, the remaining 3 pinnacle universe Undyings wouldn't be able to defend against his ambush. Continue. Longao didn't want to waste any more words because the relationship between him and the 3 of them had already reached the point where it would only end with one of them dead. There was no point in saying anything more. Seeing that Longao was about to turn around and leave, the trio's faces became increasingly gloomy. Gang Mu suppressed the anger in his heart and said, Longao, do you want to leave like this? It was just a joke. Longao killed Huabolai in front of their eyes. If the Longao left just like that, then where would their face go? They felt helpless. However, since it had already happened, they had to think of a way to resolve it. If it was any other time, whether Huabolai died or not wouldn't concern the 3 of them. However, the current situation was different. They were surrounded by people. If they let Longao leave just like that, the 3 of them wouldn't be able to back down. Longao turned around and looked at the 3 not far away. He smiled and said, Do you guys want to follow in his footsteps? If the Longao from before dared to say such words, the three of them would definitely scoff and not take it to heart. But now, the situation was completely different. Regardless of Longao's strength, just the fact that he could kill Hua Bolai in one move was enough to explain everything. If they chose to fight him head-on, the three of them wouldn't have any problems. However, under such circumstances, Longao definitely wouldn't fight them head-on. The moment he chose to ambush them, they might follow in Hua Bolai's footsteps. It would be a lie to say they weren't worried. The best way was to do everything possible to cut the weeds and eliminate the roots, so as to eliminate all future troubles. However, the three of them didn't have the slightest confidence because everyone knew that Longao had a heaven-defying divine tool that could enter and exit Longao's body at will. Not to mention them, according to rumors, even a half-step starry sky ruler wouldn't be able to lock onto this heaven-defying divine tool in Longao's hands. Longao, you don't have to boast shamelessly here. You only dare to ambush us. If you have the ability, fight us head-on. If we lose, you don't have to do anything. We'll kill ourselves here. How about it? Provocation. The three of them hoped that their provocation would force Longao to fight them head-on. Perhaps they were very afraid of Longao's sneak attack and assassination. However, if they were to fight face-to-face, then there was no doubt that even if the three of them joined hands, any one of them could easily deal with Longao. The three of them were very confident about this. How could Longao not know what the three of them were thinking? He sneered inwardly but said, "You three don't have to use provocation here. If you want a fair fight, you have to look at a fair opponent. Talk about fairness with a few shameless things." Just as Longao said this, someone in the crowd burst into laughter. The laughter was completely mocking the three of them. As dignified peak starry sky immortals, how could the three of them stand it? Before the crowd could finish laughing, the three of them attacked. There wasn't even a scream before the crowd fell to the ground, dying a tragic death. Seeing this, the rest of the crowd retreated one after another, looking in horror at the three peak starry sky immortals who had returned to their original spot. The three of them relied on their valiant strength to kill several people without putting the crowd in their eyes. However, the strength of the three of them was there for all to see. Even if you didn't laugh, no one would say a word even if the three of them attacked and killed you. They didn't dare to say anything. This was a world where strength was respected. If you had strength, you could have everything. If you didn't have strength, you couldn't even decide your own life. This was the cruel reality. With the lesson of the past, no one dared to laugh because the three of them were furious to the extreme. Anyone who dared to provoke the three of them at this juncture would be courting death. No one wasn't afraid of death. It was as if they were afraid of being implicated. Everyone in the crowd retreated once again, hiding as far as they could. Some even turned around and left. If they sacrificed their lives just to watch the show, it wouldn't be worth it. Chapter 2540. The three of them didn't care about the crowd's fear. As pinnacle universe undyings, their statuses were there for all to see. Other than the 12 universe rulers and 9 half-step universe rulers, they were the strongest in the vast universe. Below the rulers, everyone else was an ant. Similarly, below peak universe undyings, everyone else was an ant. In a short few minutes, about half of the crowd had left the forest. If the white-clothed girl was still there, perhaps they wouldn't leave for her. However, in the current situation, there wasn't much point in staying. With just you guys. The faces of the three people were very gloomy because, as dignified pinnacle rulers of the starry sky, they were provoked by a little Longao. It was simply disgraceful. Still the same words. Without sneak attacks, they weren't afraid of Longao at all. Since things were already like this, they might as well kill Longao as soon as possible to avoid future troubles. The three were very clear that if they didn't kill Longao now, they would be in deep trouble. By then, Longao would be like a ghost. Under such circumstances, the three of them would be at a disadvantage. They didn't waste any more words. The three rushed forward. 3 peak universe undyings working together, one could imagine how terrifying it would be. Longao knew his limits. With his strength alone, in a 1v3 situation, it was impossible for him to kill the 3 of them. Since he knew it was impossible, why did he still insist on doing it? Besides wasting time, it wouldn't do him any good. In an instant, Longao's figure disappeared from everyone's sight. The 3 of them naturally knew what was going on. Many of the surrounding people had heard of it, but this was the first time they saw it. In the vast universe, there were countless universe god weapons, among which, the most extravagant and hard to obtain were the defensive universe god weapons and the spatial universe god weapons. However, spatial universe god weapons had limitations. If the difference in level was too great, they would definitely be locked on by the strong. Let alone 3 peak universe undyings. Longao's spatial universe god weapon, not only peak universe undyings couldn't do anything to it, even half-step universe rulers couldn't lock onto it. From this, it could be seen. In the vast starry sky, only the 12 rulers of the starry sky could lock onto Longao's starry sky divine weapon. However, the starry sky rulers had always been elusive, and under normal circumstances, the 12 starry sky rulers would not intervene in the affairs of the vast starry sky. What should we do now? Gangmu's face was very gloomy because as long as Longao was alive, they would not be able to rest in peace. They couldn't go on like this. However, Longao had a heaven-defying starry sky spirit artifact protecting him. As long as they didn't clash head-on, they wouldn't be able to do anything to Longao. It was precisely because of this. That was why Longao was so fearless. He didn't even fear a so-called peak starry sky immortal, and he even dared to contend against a half-step starry sky ruler. Gangmu's heart was filled with greed. If he could obtain such a heaven-defying starry sky divine artifact, then he wouldn't have to fear even a half-step starry sky ruler, let alone an expert of the same level. Yi Chong and Jin Chen certainly knew what Gangmu meant. Their faces didn't look too good either. The scene just now was still vivid in their minds. Fortunately, Longao had gone all out to deal with Hua Bully, and not the 3 of them. Yi Chong and Jin Chen even thought that if Longao had gone all out to deal with the 2 of them, then the one who would have died would not have been Hua Bully, but the 2 of them. After thinking for a while, Gangmu, Yi Chong, the current situation is very unfavorable for us. Although the 3 of us can ignore Longao if we join forces, we can't always be on guard against sneak attacks and assassinations. Sigh, we know this, but we really can't do anything. What should they do? The 3 of them sighed deeply at the same time because this situation was very special. They wanted to do something, but they were powerless. They could only watch Longao constantly provoke them. The only way to kill Longao is to get rid of the starry sky spirit artifact in Longao's hands. Otherwise, we won't even have a chance, Gangmu said helplessly. However, since things had already come to this, they could only take one step at a time. Forget it. Let's put Longao's matter aside for the time being. From now on, we must be extra careful. We can't give Longao any chance. Jin Chen and Yi Chong nodded. Of course, they knew what Gangmu meant. Longao had the starry sky spirit artifact and could appear at will. If the 3 of them were careless, they would be doomed eternally. Our top priority now is to quickly locate the white-clothed girl. The 3 of them looked very serious. Longao was a big trouble. They had to deal with the white-clothed girl first. As for the white-clothed girl, she hadn't appeared since she disappeared. No matter who it was, no one could locate the white-clothed girl. Inside the Chaos Palace, after confirming that the 3 of them had left, Longao sneered. This time, the sneak attack and assassination went very smoothly. If it could go so smoothly every time, then at most 3 times, the remaining 3 people would fall. At that time, it would save him a lot of trouble. Longao was almost certain that Kang Lin was safe. Not to mention the people here, even the starry sky rulers outside might not be able to locate Kang Lin. Longao found it funny because there was almost no danger in this mysterious plane. It was a pity that the 10 starry sky rulers and 9 half-step starry sky rulers outside didn't dare to take even half a step into this plane. He wondered if everyone would regret it if they knew about this. Not long after the three of them left, Longao left the Chaos Palace and chased after them. They were looking for opportunities to continue their sneak attacks and assassinations. Longao knew that because he had just killed Huabolai, the three of them must be on guard. If he attacked at this time, not only would he fail to kill the three of them, but he would also lose more than he gained. As time went by, no matter if it was Gang Mu, Longao, or anyone else who entered the dense forest, no matter how hard they walked, they couldn't get out of the dense forest without any exception. What was going on? Everyone knew that things weren't that simple. Otherwise, why couldn't they walk out? It was like they were going in circles, making everyone confused. Even Longao gradually realized that something was wrong. He had tried many times, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't get out of the dense forest. No one knew what was going on. Chapter 2541. Everyone was trapped in the forest. They were scattered everywhere. Longao wasn't worried at all because he had the primal Chaos Palace. As long as the surrounding space wasn't locked, he could step into the primal Chaos Palace at will. He released his primordial spirit to see if he could sense Kang Lin's traces. Intuition told him that if nothing unexpected happened, Kang Lin was definitely still in the forest. He didn't find anything. He shrugged helplessly. He didn't know what was going on with Kang Lin. Until now, he still didn't know Kang Lin's identity and origin. At this moment, miserable cries came from all directions. It was very miserable, causing people to shudder when they heard it. Those who were fine felt fear in their hearts when they heard the miserable screams. Their faces turned gloomy because they didn't know what was going on. Longao also heard the miserable cries from all around, and his expression was similarly solemn. It seemed like this forest wasn't simple. Strictly speaking, this mysterious plane wasn't simple. No wonder the 10 universe rulers and 9 half-step universe rulers didn't dare to casually step into this place. There was something fishy about this place. The more it was so, the more Longao had to be careful. Kang Lin. Just as Longao was sensing everywhere, a white figure suddenly appeared in front of him. It wasn't anyone else but Kang Lin whom Longao and the others were looking for. Longao was very surprised. Kang Lin was really elusive. When he wanted to lock onto Kang Lin didn't appear. Just when he was unprepared, he never thought that Kang Lin would actually appear like this. Kang Lin was still at a loss. Her eyes were empty as she stared blankly at Longao. She didn't speak and just stared. Shrugging helplessly, Longao felt depressed. Kang Lin wasn't in a clear state of mind. Even if he said more, it would be nonsense. He might as well save his energy. The crystal coffin had disappeared. Kang Lin came to Longao's side and returned to her previous state. She didn't leave his side at all. Longao was very depressed. If Kang Lin continued to follow him like this, then even if he could successfully leave this positional plane, it would be very difficult for him to deal with the starry sky experts outside. What should he do? No matter how he thought about it, he couldn't think of a good idea for the time being. With no other choice, Longao did not plan to leave for the time being. Moreover, this place was like a maze. Even if he wanted to leave, he was afraid that he would not be able to leave this place for the time being. Helplessly, he sat on the ground. Kang Lin stood quietly beside Longao without saying a word. Screams of agony could still be heard from all around. Many people had entered the mysterious plane this time, but even so, at this rate, they wouldn't be able to hold on for long. As for what had happened, no one knew. Kang Lin, who exactly are you? You've been following me. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. In any case, Kang Lin didn't say anything and just listened to Longao. Ignoring the miserable cries coming from all around, Longao rested for a few days before getting up to see how he could leave. He would deal with whatever came his way. Taking a step back, even if he and Kang Lin were discovered by others, including the 10 universe rulers and the 9 half-step universe rulers, he could only deal with them by force. After all, what had happened couldn't be changed. Kang Lin, Is the situation here related to you? Looking at the silent Kang Lin beside him, Longao smiled because even if Kang Lin didn't say a word, he had already guessed that the situation here definitely had something to do with Kang Lin. However, after thinking about it, he understood. Kang Lin was not only a universe ruler, but also a universe ruler who controlled the power of primal chaos. Her strength was above other universe rulers. Such a super existence was not easy to deal with even if she was delirious. The reason Longao smiled was because his intuition told him that as long as Kang Lin followed him, he would definitely be fine. A few days had proven that his guess was correct. Indeed, he didn't encounter any danger when Kang Lin followed him. He could only hear the miserable cries coming from all around. Longao didn't continue to release his primordial spirit to sense. He just closed his eyes and led Kang Lin forward. One step, one step, one step after another. After walking for an unknown period of time, Longao suddenly opened his eyes and looked at the dense forest behind him with a smile. It seemed that his guess was right. The situation here was indeed caused by Kang Lin. As long as he took Kang Lin with him, he could easily escape. But what about the next moment? Longao was very angry. He was angry at himself. He had clearly guessed it but didn't have time to act. He had already given everyone a chance. In particular, Gang Mu and the other two. If he didn't leave with Kang Lin, given enough time, he believed that everyone, including Gang Mu and the other two, would have died in the forest. This was without a doubt. It was only because of his carelessness that he missed a great opportunity. It turned out. Longao had already guessed that the incident in the forest must be related to Kang Lin. As long as Kang Lin followed him, he would be safe and there wouldn't be any problems. However, if Kang Lin left the forest, there was no doubt that the maze would disappear without a trace. At that time, everyone would be safe, including the three of them. But in the end, he wasn't prepared at all. He left with Kang Lin just like that and the forest returned to peace. In this way, everyone, including the three of them, would be safe and sound. Longao didn't care about everyone's life and death. However, things had already come to this point and it was too late to regret. Just as Longao was about to leave, a steady stream of people came out of the dense forest, including Gang Mu and the other two. Longao saw everyone and they also saw Longao. Shit. Longao sighed inwardly. It seemed that if he wanted to hide this matter, he would have to kill everyone here. Otherwise, this secret would definitely be leaked. However, it would be a little difficult to kill everyone here. After all, in this situation, even if he was strong enough, there would be fishes that would escape the net. Unless he destroyed the entire plane, but that was a little unrealistic. Longao, hand over the white-clothed girl. Kill. Everyone rushed toward Longao frantically. No matter what happened, they couldn't let Longao take the white-clothed girl away. Everyone knew that Longao was very resourceful. If Longao took the white-clothed girl away, who knew what would happen? Gang Mu and the other two weren't idle either. They also rushed toward Longao. Before they arrived, a terrifying force had already arrived. Chapter 2542. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Without a single bit of fear, Longao wielded his chaos axe and slashed out viciously at everyone. Longao's speed was extremely fast. Axe after axe, it was relentless. This time around, Longao was truly intent on killing. Being merciful to one's enemies was the cruelest thing one could do to oneself. Whether it was for himself or Kang Lin, everyone here had to die. No one was to be spared. The cracks in the starry skies were howling continuously as they devoured everyone who came up. It would be a lie if one were to say that they weren't afraid of the horrifying cracks in the starry skies. Some of the starry skies cultivators did not even have the time to react before they were devoured by the cracks. In fact, they did not even have the time to scream before disappearing into thin air. The remaining people looked at everything that was happening in front of them. One by one, their faces changed as they looked on in shock. Longao's strength was simply way too strong. Longao's cultivation state had successfully broken through to Starry Sky immortal state. He could kill all the Starry Sky's cultivators of the same cultivation state as him in a second. Even Starry Sky immortals might not be able to defend against him. Even Starry Sky immortals at their limits would not be a match for Longao in a one-on-one fight, let alone ordinary Starry Sky's cultivators. Everyone was completely terrified. Under Longao's relentless slashes, hundreds of people fell in just a few seconds. What sort of concept was this? 99% of the people here were afraid of death. One by one, they retreated, hoping to reap the benefits. Would Longao choose to give up just like that? If Longao chose to give up, he wouldn't be Longao anymore. Wielding the Chaos Axe, Longao's figure flashed continuously in and out of the void. Boom, boom, boom. The cracks in the starry skies were still devouring them. To take on tens of thousands of people alone, Longao's bravery was needless to say. Even the masses were a little afraid. One by one, they fell. Looking around, there were corpses everywhere. Corpses and bones were piled up like mountains. However, there were simply too many of them. Looking around, there were simply too many of them. Longao was also very depressed. It was really difficult for him to fight against so many people alone. Not only that. Other than taking care of himself, Longao also had to take care of Kang Lin. Although Kang Lin was invincible at her peak, the current Kang Lin was a little special. In her delirious state, it was easy for others to control her. No matter what happened, no one was allowed to hurt Kang Lin. He kept retreating. If Longao were to charge forward bravely, no one would be a match for him. But now, the situation was a little special. In order to protect Kang Lin, Longao was helpless. Gradually, they were surrounded by many people. Gang Mu and the other two had not taken action earlier. They were also very wary of Longao's strength. Thus, they had allowed the others to fight Longao first while the three of them reaped the benefits. The time had come. Just as Longao retreated to protect Kang Lin, Gang Mu and the other two took advantage of the situation and attacked with all their might. 3 pinnacle universe undyings and countless universe cultivators, such a force couldn't be underestimated. The slightest carelessness would lead to eternal damnation. If it had been someone else, Longao might have been able to lead them into the Primal Chaos Palace. He had full confidence in the Primal Chaos Palace. Not to mention ordinary Starry Sky cultivators, even half-step Starry Sky rulers or Starry Sky rulers couldn't lock onto his Primal Chaos Palace. But now, the situation was completely different. He didn't know why, but he couldn't enter the Primal Chaos Palace with Kang Lin. It was a little strange. Since he couldn't enter the Primal Chaos Palace, he could only choose to fight force with force. With Longao's current strength, plus Primal Chaos Axe, Primal Chaos 9 axes and space grasping, no one here could resist Longao. Even a pinnacle universe undying wouldn't be able to kill Longao. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, no one would be willing to believe that Longao was so strong. Even if Longao was strong, he was only a universe undying. Even if he could kill universe cultivators of the same level, he couldn't deal with a pinnacle universe undying. A universe undying and a pinnacle universe undying were two different existences. The difference between the two was huge. They weren't even on the same level. Everyone felt helpless when the truth was turned upside down. Even so, for the Primal Chaos Tablet and Primal Chaos Energy of the white-robed girl, everyone attacked without hesitation despite their fear of Longao. As long as they could kill Longao, they could smoothly control the white-robed girl and obtain the Primal Chaos Tablet and Primal Chaos Energy. When there was a great reward, there would be brave men. Even if Longao's strength was strong, he was gradually unable to resist and slowly retreated step by step with Kang Lin. If this continued, it wouldn't be a solution. What should they do? Relying on his Primal Chaos 9 axes and space grasping, it was impossible to kill everyone. After retreating continuously, Longao's expression became more and more serious. Just when everyone was pleasantly surprised and thought that they could kill Longao, the situation suddenly changed. Kang Lin, who hadn't spoken and wasn't in a clear state of mind, suddenly stretched out her right hand and gently made a gesture in front of everyone. If it was someone else, they wouldn't be affected by such a gentle stroke. However, Kang Lin's situation was different. Everyone's expression changed completely as they looked at her in horror. There was no need to talk about Kang Lin's strength. Although she wasn't in a clear state of mind, it wasn't difficult for her to control. The only helpless thing was that Kang Lin would occasionally make a move. Just a casual move was enough to shock the world. With a loud boom, thousands of people were sent flying. Before they could even react, thousands of them had already lost their lives. Gang Mu and the other two had fled very quickly. If they had been even a little slower, they would have been killed by Yi Shiwen's attack. This level of strength was simply too terrifying. Thousands of people died in an instant. Such a situation was too terrifying. Everyone frantically retreated and looked at Kang Lin in horror because no one was sure if Kang Lin would make another move. This was just a casual stroke. If she made a few more strokes, or even a dozen or more strokes, then everyone here would probably die here. Not to mention the others, even Gang Mu and the other two were a little shocked and didn't dare to take a step forward. Their faces were gloomy and as ugly as it could be because they didn't dare to continue attacking because they didn't know if Kang Lin would make another move. If they lost their lives because of this, then the loss wouldn't make up for the gains. They were very depressed. They couldn't figure out why Kang Lin didn't attack Longao but the others. Logically speaking, Kang Lin's mind wasn't clear and she shouldn't know anyone. However, the result was like this. They couldn't figure it out, really couldn't figure it out. Chapter 2543. Longao was also a little dumbfounded. He also didn't expect Kang Lin to suddenly attack at this time. Just a casual move was enough to kill thousands of people. If this were to happen a few more times, one could imagine what the consequences would be. However, Kang Lin's mind wasn't clear, so she only attacked occasionally. Longao did not continue to stay, because he knew very well in his heart that with his own strength, it was impossible to kill everyone here. There was no point in staying. Taking advantage of Kang Lin's attack, Longao turned and left quickly. In a short while, he disappeared without a trace. Everyone was very clear about Kang Lin's situation. It was indeed so. Looking at Longao quickly fleeing into the distance, no one chose to give up. Each and every one of them madly chased endlessly. Longao's speed was very fast, especially after his cultivation broke through to Starry Sky Immortal Realm. Even a peak Starry Sky Immortal Realm expert wouldn't be faster than Longao. Regarding this point, Longao was still very confident. Using spatial teleportation continuously, Longao's speed had reached the limit. The peak of speed was spatial teleportation. However, many people knew that the true peak of speed wasn't spatial teleportation, but the so-called time teleportation. However, in the vast starry sky, there were very few people who could grasp spatial teleportation, and those who could grasp time teleportation were even rarer. It could be said that the speed of time teleportation was far superior to spatial teleportation. If he could grasp time teleportation, then even a half-step starry sky ruler might not be able to contend with him. In terms of speed, it would be a lie to say that he didn't want to grasp time teleportation. However, Longao didn't pursue time teleportation excessively because he knew that time teleportation still depended on luck. He originally thought that he wouldn't be able to grasp time teleportation, but the result gave Longao a huge shock. Just as he kept using spatial teleportation and raised his speed to the limit, the situation suddenly changed. His speed, which had already reached the peak, actually doubled. Doubled? What kind of concept was this? Longao's spatial teleportation was already very fast, and now that it doubled, perhaps even a peak Starry Sky Immortal Realm expert wouldn't be able to catch up to Longao. Time teleportation. He had actually managed to grasp the legendary time teleportation. Longao knew that even the current ruler of the Starry Sky of Time, the so-called Dark Dragon, hadn't obtained the ability to teleport. If there were no accidents, he was probably the only one who had obtained time teleportation. Spatial teleportation and temporal teleportation were two completely different existences. They were not on the same level. The difference was too great. At the peak of the mountain, Longao stood against the wind, quietly standing at the peak of the mountain. Kang Lin didn't say anything either. She just stared blankly at the endless void in the distance. He just stood there quietly. Time trickled by. After an unknown period of time. With a deep sigh, Longao muttered to himself helplessly, "Things are getting more and more complicated. It seems that I have to find a way to break through the limit of Starry Sky Immortal Realm first." Even if a Starry Sky Immortal could rely on his Shorekill technique to contend against a peak Starry Sky Immortal, it wouldn't be of much use. Given his current strength, he could only watch helplessly if he encountered a half-step Starry Sky ruler. The only way. He had to do everything he could to break through the limit of Starry Sky Immortal Realm. This way, even if he didn't have the devouring secret realm, he could rely on his various Shorekill techniques to contend against a half-step Starry Sky ruler. However, the realm wasn't something that could be broken through at any time. Under normal circumstances, with his cultivation speed, it shouldn't be difficult to break through from Starry Sky Legend to Starry Sky Immortal Realm. But the result? It took him more than 200 years to break through from Starry Sky Legend to Starry Sky Immortal Realm. If he hadn't fused with the Chaos 9-colored lotus, who knew how long it would have taken him to break through from Starry Sky Legend to Starry Sky Immortal Realm? It had already subverted his cultivation speed. Longao felt helpless. If he followed the previous example, he didn't know how long it would take for him to break through from Starry Sky Immortal Realm to Starry Sky Immortal Realm. It was really depressing. Because of his physique, the current situation seemed to be very unfavorable for him. Even if he devoured the mysterious energy in the Chaos Palace, his cultivation couldn't increase, let alone a terrifying increase. What should he do to break through from Starry Sky Immortal Realm to Starry Sky Immortal Realm in the shortest time possible? Kai Kai, Kai Kai Kai, Kai Kai Kai, right at this moment. Longao's face changed, and he said coldly, "Since you're here, please show yourself." Longao was curious. Although the other party hadn't shown himself, he could clearly sense that the other party was a half-step Starry Sky Dominator. In the vast Starry Sky, there were a total of 9 Starry Sky Dominators from the 9 great Starry Sky Empires. The 9 Starry Sky Dominators were Bai Jing from the first Starry Sky Empire, Zhuge Ming from the second Starry Sky Empire, Gong Sun He from the third Starry Sky Empire, Xia Feng from the fourth Starry Sky Empire, Zhu Bolai from the fifth Starry Sky Empire, Lu Mu from the sixth Starry Sky Empire, Kong Shao from the seventh Starry Sky Empire, Fang Buping from the eighth Starry Sky Empire, and Wei Bujing from the ninth Starry Sky Empire. Longao was very clear about the aura of the 9 half-step Starry Sky Dominators. Other than the 9 of them, he couldn't think of any other half-step Starry Sky Dominator in the vast Starry Sky. Although he had never heard of a 10th half-step Starry Sky Dominator in the vast Starry Sky, Longao was sure that other than the 9 half-step Starry Sky Dominators, there must be other half-step Starry Sky Dominators. Who was it? Why was this person able to locate him? Everything about this was a mystery. The void rippled, and in the next second, a loud dragon's roar rang through the entire world. Under Longao's surprised gaze, a purplish-black figure appeared. "Long Tu. You know who I am." The middle-aged man was surprised. He had not expected the other party to know who he was at first glance. Looking at Longao in front of him, Long Tu suddenly began to laugh crazily. If not for the dragon's roar, Longao would not have guessed the middle-aged man's identity so quickly. Because in the vast Starry Sky, out of all the people he knew, only the old ancestor of the dragon race, Long Tu, had managed to become a half-step Starry Sky Dominator. Furthermore, he guessed that since Long Tu was still in seclusion even though he was already a half-step Starry Sky Dominator, the only possibility was that Long Tu had obtained the Chaos Stone Tablet and was preparing to go into seclusion to cultivate it and break through to Starry Sky Dominator. Chapter 2544. Longao, you're really smart. To think that you could guess who I am. Fearless. Even if Long Tu was a half-step star ruler, Longao had no fear at all. It was still the same statement. Even if he could not kill Long Tu, with the protection of the Chaos Palace, he believed that even Long Tu would not be able to lock onto the location of the Chaos Palace. Long Tu, our relationship is destined. Let's cut the crap. Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. Long Tu laughed out maniacally once more as his face was filled with praise. Long Tu naturally knew of Longao's identity and background. For him to be able to come this far, he could be considered to have truly witnessed the legendary Longao. Great, Longao. Let's be frank. I'm not here to deal with you this time around. As long as you hand over all your secrets, not only can I write off all the grudges between us, I can even help you deal with the 9 great star empires. How about that? Roping. A blatant attempt at roping. Of course, Long Tu knew that the fact that Longao could survive till now under the combined attacks of the 9 great star empires spoke volumes. He still did not have full confidence. Long Tu was afraid that he could not kill Longao. If he were to miss the chance, it would be extremely disadvantageous for him. How could Longao not know what Long Tu was thinking? He scoffed coldly. Long Tu, seems like you still don't understand me. If I were to choose to compromise, I wouldn't have waited until now. I would have done so long ago. Why should I compromise with you? Long Tu was not enraged in the least bit. After all, he knew Longao's character well. If Longao were to choose to compromise so easily, he would not be Longao anymore. Longao, I know that you have a heaven-defying weapon in your hands. Even if it's a half-step star ruler, you won't have to fear it. But to me, that's nothing. Long Tu's meaning was clear. Even if the 9 half-step star rulers of the 9 great star empires could not do it, it did not mean that he could not. However, Longao chuckled out, not bothered at all. Long Tu, I'm curious. Let me ask you a question. I hope you can answer truthfully. Long Slayer did not say anything and agreed. Dragon Slayer, under normal circumstances, since you've already become a half-step starry sky ruler, why are you still in seclusion? He seemed to have guessed something. Longao, I know what you want to ask. Longao nodded with a smile and said, if that's the case, then please answer me. Unable to answer. He wasn't surprised at all. The matter of the primal chaos stone tablet itself was the biggest problem. If Long Slayer became a starry sky ruler, there wouldn't be any problems. However, the problem now was that Long Slayer hadn't become a starry sky ruler yet. Longao was only a half-step starry sky ruler. Once news of him possessing a primal chaos tablet spread out, things would get troublesome. Even if he wasn't afraid of the others, how could he not be afraid of the Oracle? Longao was almost certain that if Master Clairvoyant and the others found out that Long Tu possessed the primal Chaos Stone tablet, then Master Clairvoyant would definitely seize the opportunity to kill Long Tu and seize the primal Chaos Stone tablet before Long Tu became a ruler of the starry sky. Did the Dragon Slayer devour the primal Chaos tablet or not? Is there? Or isn't there? Longao wasn't completely sure. Under normal circumstances, if Long Tu really did devour the primal Chaos tablet, then he would definitely continue his seclusion to refine it. But the result? Long Tu didn't continue his seclusion and instead came to find him. Perhaps Long Tu didn't devour the primal Chaos tablet at all and chose to continue his seclusion because of other matters. Longao, I'll give you one last chance. Are you going to hand it over or not? Nope. Long Tu didn't seem to know about the white-clothed girl. Otherwise, he wouldn't have ignored her existence. Longao was helpless. If he hadn't called Kang Lin, then he could have entered the Primal Chaos Palace at any time. However, with Kang Lin as a concern, if he couldn't enter the Primal Chaos Palace and chose to fight force with force, then he would be the one to suffer in the end. There was no doubt about that. Looking at Longao, Long Tu's expression slowly turned cold. He said coldly, Longao, I consider you a talent. If you insist on being stubborn, then don't blame me for being impolite. Long Tu let out a dragon roar that resounded throughout the world. Half-step starry sky rulers were also divided into different levels. For example, among the 9 half-step starry sky rulers, Bai Jing's strength was slightly stronger. As for Long Tu, not only was the secret realm he devoured powerful, but his physique was also very special. With the combination of the two, his strength was much higher than the 9 half-step starry sky rulers. Just his aura alone was very powerful. If it were anyone else, the aura released by Long Tu would have been enough to intimidate them. Only Longao chose to ignore it. Longao's strength might not be as strong as Long Tu, but the power of his primordial spirit was probably similar to Long Tu's. In that case, it was simply impossible for Long Tu to rely on his primordial spirit to suppress Longao. There was no movement at all. Long Tu was shocked because he had full confidence in the power of his primordial spirit. Not to mention a starry sky immortal expert, even an ultimate starry sky immortal expert might not be able to resist the suppression of his primordial spirit. It seemed that Longao was really not simple. However, after thinking about it, he understood what kind of existence Longao was to provoke 9 half-step starry sky rulers and survive until now. However, if he didn't see it with his own eyes, it would have been hard to believe. If Longao was an ultimate starry sky ruler, Long Tu could have accepted it. However, it turned out that Longao wasn't an ultimate starry sky immortal expert, but a starry sky immortal expert. It was really hard to accept. Originally, Long Tu didn't want to take action at all. After all, even he wasn't fully confident. Otherwise, how could he, a half-step starry sky ruler, talk so much nonsense? However, things had already come to this point. Long Tu knew that he had to take action. Otherwise, it would be superfluous no matter how much nonsense he said. It was better to end this as soon as possible. Thinking of this, Long Tu didn't continue to talk nonsense. At the same time, a dragon roar resounded. He took a stride forward and quickly rushed towards Longao. Long Tu sneered. Longao held the primal chaos axe in his hand and directly rushed towards Long Tu. The combination of the primal chaos 9 axes and the starry sky mastery had an unimaginable power. Until now, Long Tu still didn't know that Longao could shatter the starry sky. Otherwise, Long Tu would have been prepared. Long Tu was caught off guard and looked down on Longao. In this way, countless cracks in the starry sky appeared in the surroundings. Long Tu was completely frightened because he never thought that Longao's strength could shatter the starry sky. Chapter 2545. Of course, Longslayer knew what the starry sky crack meant. Even if his cultivation had broken through to the half-step starry sky ruler, it was impossible for him to resist the starry sky crack head-on. If it were anyone else, they would have been intimidated by Longao's shattered starry sky. However, Longslayer's situation was a little different. As one of the 6 peak races, Longslayer had single-handedly created the peak dragon race. One could imagine how powerful Longslayer was. Longslayer's speed was very fast. Originally, Longao already had time teleportation. Even if there was a big difference in strength, there should not be much of a difference in speed. In the end, Longao's shattered starry sky could not destroy Longslayer at all. In the end, Longslayer's speed was too fast. Longslayer's conditions were excellent. It could be said that Longslayer was the ancestor of the dragon race in the vast starry sky and countless planes. If this continued, it would not be a solution. What should he do? Longao's expression was very ugly. As a half-step starry sky ruler, there were differences in strength. Compared to Longslayer, the 9 half-step starry sky rulers of the 9 great starry skies were still a little inferior. Longslayer's speed was much faster than Longao had imagined. Even if Longslayer's speed could not resist time teleportation, his physique made up for it. Before Longao could react, Longslayer's figure had already arrived in front of him. What kind of concept was this? Longao was also a little dumbfounded because he had never expected Longslayer's speed to be so fast. It was so fast that it was a little unbelievable. Even compared to his time teleportation, it was not much different. Longslayer's strength was very powerful. His hands were unpredictable, and he continuously attacked Longao's body. With Longslayer's powerful strength and speed, in just a few seconds, Longao had been hit hundreds of times in a row. In the next second, Longao's body was like a kite with a broken string as he flew backward. Longslayer was a little shocked because he had never expected that Longao would be able to survive after taking hundreds of his palms. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, it would have been unbelievable. Longslayer had full confidence in his own strength. Not to mention the Starry Sky Immortal Realm, even the peak Starry Sky Immortal Realm could only take 3 palms at most. But what was the result now? It was unbelievable. Seeing Longao flying backward, Longslayer did not choose to give up. Instead, he chased after Longao. From the beginning until the end, Kang Lin didn't make another move. It was still the same sentence. Kang Lin was currently delirious. No one knew when she would make a move. He still had to rely on himself. Just as Longslayer chased after him, Longao, who was in mid-air, turned around and disappeared from Longslayer's sight. Where is he? Seeing Longao, who was still there just now, suddenly disappear without a trace, Long too was completely dumbfounded. Although he had heard that Longao possessed a heaven-defying Starry Sky divine artifact and that even the 9 half-step Starry Sky rulers of the 9 great Starry Sky empires couldn't do anything to Longao, he still found it hard to believe. He had never seen such a heaven-defying Starry Sky divine tool. It was very greedy. Of course, Longslayer knew what Longao's heaven-defying Starry Sky divine tool meant. If he could get this heaven-defying Starry Sky divine tool, it would be like adding wings to a tiger. By then, he could completely ignore anyone below the Starry Sky ruler. However, the current situation was very unfavorable for him. Longao had successfully entered the Starry Sky divine tool and he was afraid of that. He thought that with his speed and strength, he could kill Longao before Longao entered the Starry Sky divine tool. In that case, not only could he kill Longao, but he could also get all the secrets on Longao. Longslayer couldn't figure out how Longao did it. How could he be fine after taking hundreds of his palms? What was the reason? There was only one possibility, and that was that Longao had a heaven-defying defensive Starry Sky divine tool that could withstand hundreds of his palms. Whether it was Longao's defensive Starry Sky divine tool or his spatial Starry Sky divine tool, they were both rare heaven-defying Starry Sky divine tools. If he could get such a heaven-defying Starry Sky divine tool, he would be like adding wings to a tiger. He didn't even dare to think about it. Who was Longao? How could he have both a spatial Starry Sky divine tool and a defensive Starry Sky divine tool at the same time? He believed that even other half-step Starry Sky rulers couldn't get such a heaven-defying Starry Sky divine tool. Inside the Primal Chaos Palace, Longao's face was extremely pale and ugly. If he hadn't merged with the Primal Chaos 9-colored lotus, he would have died this time. Not to mention taking hundreds of palms, he wouldn't even be able to withstand dozens of palms. Even so, his injuries were still serious. If he hadn't entered the Primal Chaos Palace in time, according to the speed and strength of the attacks, the 9 lives he had reproduced from the Primal Chaos 9-colored lotus would have been destroyed by Long 2 one by one in half an hour at most. At that time, he would undoubtedly die. Longao took a deep breath. He didn't expect Long 2 to be so powerful. As a half-step Starry Sky ruler, the other 9 half-step Starry Sky rulers couldn't bring him such danger. Long 2 was really the first person. No wonder he could lead the Dragon Clan to become one of the 6 peak clans. Outside the Primal Chaos Palace, seeing that Longao had disappeared and hid in the Starry Sky divine tool, Long 2 felt very regretful. If he had attacked with his full strength just now, the result might not have been like this. All of a sudden, Long 2 looked at the white-clothed girl not far away. He was very curious because he sensed a trace of danger from the white-clothed girl. He was very shocked. In the entire vast Starry Sky, there were only a few people who could bring him danger, except for the 12 Starry Sky rulers. He didn't dare to attack casually because he didn't have full confidence, and he didn't know how strong the white-clothed girl was. Could it be that he was thinking too much? If the white-clothed girl could really bring him danger, then why didn't she help Longao when he killed Longao just now? Looking at the white-clothed girl's blank face and empty eyes, Long too became more and more curious. He had to try. Otherwise, how could he know how strong the white-clothed girl was? If he missed this opportunity because of himself, then he wouldn't even have the chance to regret. Step by step, Long too walked towards the white-clothed girl. Looking at the delirious white-clothed girl, Long too gradually found that the white-clothed girl in front of him seemed to be a little special. If that was the case, even if the white-clothed girl was strong, she wouldn't be a threat to him. The white-clothed girl and Longao stood together. Although he wasn't sure about the relationship between the two, he still had to try. If Longao appeared because of the white-clothed girl, then it would be a good thing for him. Chapter 2546. Dragon Slayer, are you shameless? You actually attacked a little girl. Just as Dragon Slayer was about to test the girl in white, Longao's voice suddenly sounded. The more Longao acted like this, the more Dragon Slayer asserted that the relationship between the girl in white and Longao was definitely not simple. Ha ha ha, Longao, you're such a coward that you don't dare to come out. I can only kill this girl first and see if you'll appear again. Dragon Slayer could not let the girl in white go. He could almost be sure that even if the girl in white was powerful and might even be a half-step Starry Sky ruler, her strength was above his. However, the unconscious girl in white was not dangerous to him at all. Just as Dragon Slayer was about to make a move, the terrifying Starry Sky crack appeared again. It devoured crazily. It roared crazily. Even if he was not afraid of the Starry Sky crack, Dragon Slayer still did not dare to fight it head-on. If he was accidentally swallowed by the Starry Sky crack, even he would die without a doubt. In the end, Dragon Slayer was still afraid of the Starry Sky crack. While Dragon Slayer was dodging the Starry Sky crack, Longao did not choose to give up the best opportunity. It appeared in an instant. Longao held Kang Lin's hand and quickly left. He kept using time teleportation, and his speed almost soared to the extreme. Time teleportation? Looking at Longao who had disappeared, Dragon Slayer was shocked because he did not expect Longao to be able to master time teleportation. However, Dragon Slayer was not worried at all. He was very confident in his speed. Even if it was not as fast as time teleportation, he believed that it was not far behind. If they were of the same level, no matter how fast Dragon Slayer was, he would not be able to catch up with Longao. Not to mention the same level, even if Dragon Slayer was an ultimate Starry Sky ruler, he would not be able to compete with Longao in terms of speed. However, Dragon Slayer was now a genuine half-step Starry Sky ruler. In addition, his physique was very special. In terms of speed, he was almost the same as Longao. It was almost impossible for Longao to completely get rid of Dragon Slayer. One in front and one behind. Both of their speeds soared to the extreme. Even their after-images could not be seen. The entire plane was too big and boundless. Even with their speed, they could not reach the end. This was what shocked them the most. Under normal circumstances, with Longao and Dragon Slayer's strength and speed, they could travel the entire plane in less than a few seconds. But in the end, the two of them had been running wildly for several hours, but they still hadn't seen the edge of the plane. Whether it was Longao or Long 2, they were both a little shocked. This plane was a little too big. In the process of the chase, the two of them released their primordial spirits at the same time to see if they could sense how big the plane was. Slayer, Slayer, Slayer. Neither a Starry Sky Immortal nor a half-step Starry Sky ruler could truly sense how big this plane was. Kang Lin allowed Longao to pull her along as they ran. She didn't make a move and just followed. Slayer, 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 Aya, Slayer, 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 Aya, what should he Slayer? The more he thought about it, the more solemn Longao's expression became because Slayer, Slayer was too oppressive. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed quietly. Longao and Slayer were still chasing each other. For the two of them, not to mention 3 days, even 3,000 years would not be a problem. As time passed, Slayer became more and more shocked. He originally thought that with his strength and speed, it would be easy to catch up with Longao. But in the end, he was shocked because Long too never thought that with his strength and speed, he actually did not succeed in catching up to Longao. If this continued, even if he continued to chase like this, it would not have much meaning. He had to end the battle quickly. Under such circumstances, the longer he delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. Thinking of this, Slayer's face became gloomier. Could it be that he had to use his main body? Unless it was a last resort, Long Slayer was unwilling to use his real body casually because dealing with a puny starry sky immortal was already a loss of face. If he used his real body now, it would be a huge loss of face. However, the situation was completely different now. If he did not use his main body, he might not be able to catch up with Longao even after millions of years, let alone a short time. Although he did not want to believe it, the truth was right in front of him, so he had no choice but to believe it. He was very helpless. Before coming here, he would never have thought that a mere starry sky immortal would force him to use his main body to catch up. Anyway, it had already happened, so he could not give up just like that. In an instant, a loud dragon roar resounded throughout the world. Slayer's figure disappeared. Immediately after, a purple-black dragon that was tens of thousands of feet long appeared in the void of the 9 heavens. At a glance, the purple-black dragon was like a huge mountain that covered the entire world. It was so huge that it covered the sky and the sun. Slayer had transformed into a human form before, but now he appeared in his main body. As everyone knew, the strength of a divine beast's main body was far above that of its transformation. In other words, Slayer's main body at this moment was even stronger. After revealing his main body, Slayer's strength was not only slightly stronger, but his speed was also 1/5 faster. If it were anyone else, 1/5 of his speed would not be a big deal. However, for Slayer, 1/5 of his speed meant something. One could imagine what would happen. Longao turned his head to look at the behemoth behind him and instantly understood what Long Slayer meant. As the ancestor of the Divine Dragon clan, Long Slayer's transformation into his true form would definitely be able to increase his strength and speed, especially his speed. Under such circumstances, Long Slayer's speed would not be able to catch up to him. That was the only way. However, Longao did not expect Slayer's speed to increase by 1/5 after revealing his main body. He knew very well what this meant. If that was the case, his speed would not have any advantage compared to his opponent's strength. If that was the case, he would be caught up by Slayer sooner or later. He had to think of a way to deal with it in the shortest time possible. Otherwise, not only him, but even Kang Lin would be in great trouble. Time teleportation had reached its limit. If he wanted to continue increasing his speed, it was far from enough to rely on his current strength unless he could increase his strength. However, it was easier said than done to break through from the starry sky immortal realm to the limit. Chapter 2547. The Dragon Slayer revealed his true form, and his speed increased by 20%. Initially, the two of them had been keeping a distance between them. What about now? As the Dragon Slayer's speed increased by 20%, the distance between him and Longao was getting closer. If this continued, the Dragon Slayer would be able to catch up to Longao in 10 minutes at most. What should I do? No matter how he thought about it, he could not think of a good idea. Do I have to enter the Chaos Hall alone? Without Kang Lin, Longao was full of confidence. As long as he could enter the Chaos Hall, even if the Dragon Slayer was extremely powerful, he would not be in any danger to him. I can help you suppress the Dragon Slayer. Heh! Longao, who was running wildly, was shocked when he suddenly heard Kang Lin's words. He could almost be sure that Kang Lin had regained her consciousness. He was delighted. The Dragon Slayer's strength was incomparably powerful, but compared to Kang Lin, they were not on the same level at all. The gap between the two of them was too big, and it was an insurmountable gap. As the ruler of the starry sky who had grasped the chaotic power, there was no need to mention her strength. Not to mention suppressing the Dragon Slayer, even killing the Dragon Slayer would be a matter of minutes. He could not figure it out. Kang Lin, why don't you kill the Dragon Slayer? As long as the Dragon Slayer was completely destroyed, he would be completely free of worries. Otherwise, no one knew what would happen in the future. Kang Lin smiled and said, I don't know when I'll wake up and when I'll become delirious. You won't be able to protect me with your strength alone. That's why I have to find you a slave to help you protect me. I see. Kang Lin, if the Dragon Slayer breaks free from the seal, Longao did not finish his words, but the meaning in his words was very clear. How could Kang Lin not understand what Longao meant? She smiled and said, You overestimate the Dragon Slayer. Unless I die, the Dragon Slayer won't be able to break free from my seal. Longao did not have the slightest doubt. After all, Kang Lin's strength was obvious. Longao nodded in agreement. Kang Lin and Longao stopped at the same time. Long Slayer, who was chasing after them, was shocked when he saw the two of them suddenly stop. He transformed into his human form and stopped abruptly. Longao, what I said just now still stands. As long as you are willing to submit to me and hand over all your secrets, I will consider sparing your life. You. Longao smiled but said nothing. Until this moment, Long too still did not expect that his doomsday was about to arrive. At this moment, Kang Lin, who had been silent all this while, took a step forward. Her face was filled with mockery as she said with disdain, A little worm dares to be so impudent here. Reptile? The Dragon Slayer was the ancestor of all the colossal dragons in the vast starry sky. His strength was valiant, but in Kang Lin's mouth, he was just a worm. It was very funny, but Longao knew that Kang Lin had such capital. Beneath the starry sky sovereign, all were ants. Had he regained his consciousness? Of course, the Dragon Slayer could sense how powerful the other party was, but under such circumstances, it was impossible for him to admit defeat. He laughed maniacally. His laughter was filled with endless mockery. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Longao did not say anything, and neither did Kang Lin. Both of them just looked at the Dragon Slayer who was laughing maniacally before them. Just like that. After laughing maniacally for a full minute, the Dragon Slayer gradually came to a stop. Longao, since you don't know what's good for you, don't blame me for not going easy on you. The Dragon Slayer was clear in his heart. If Longao and the white-robed girl had the strength to deal with him, they would not have been in such a wretched state earlier on. In the Dragon Slayer's opinion, the reason why Longao was doing this was just to scare him. If he were to fall for it, he would truly be a fool. Longao did not say anything. After all, there was nothing he could do about what was about to happen next. However, he could already imagine the outcome. Given the difference in strength between the both of them, Kang Lin would probably only need a single move to take care of the Dragon Slayer. Furthermore, he could already confirm that the Dragon Slayer did not devour the Chaos Stone Tablet at all. As for why he was in seclusion, that was something he did not know. Why? You don't dare to strike. The moment the Dragon Slayer took a step forward, his entire face was frosty. After all, Longao was just trying to provoke him. If he did not kill this man, where would he put his face? Before Longao and the white-robed girl could strike out, the Dragon Slayer could no longer wait. He bolted out with his speed raised to the maximum. It was clear that he wanted to kill both of them in a single move. If it were before, Longao would definitely turn around and run far away instead of going head-to-head with the Dragon Slayer. But right now, the situation was completely different. The Dragon Slayer's figure left and returned just as quickly. He came to a stop forcefully and looked at the white-robed girl before him with a face full of shock. It was as though he had just met with something inconceivable. His face was extremely terrible as he said, "Ruler of the stars. To think that you would be the ruler of the stars." There were a total of 12 rulers of the stars in the vast starry sky. He had seen almost all of them, but he had never seen such a ruler of the stars. It was precisely because of this that the Dragon Slayer could not figure out why there would be a 13th ruler of the stars in the vast starry sky. For so many years, the Dragon Slayer had been cultivating in seclusion, so he knew almost nothing about the vast starry sky. This time, he suddenly came out of seclusion because he had sensed that Longao was different. He had not heard about the matters of the vast starry sky from Yububai yet. Otherwise, the Dragon Slayer would not have been so shocked. Although the Dragon Slayer was very confident in his own strength, he knew that it was impossible for him to contend with the ruler of the stars in front of him with his current strength. There was no doubt that he would die if he were to go head-to-head with the ruler of the stars in front of him. Retreat. After all, the Dragon Slayer was afraid in the end. He did not want to die here. As for Longao, there would be plenty of opportunities to kill Longao in the future. It would not be worth it to sacrifice himself for this matter. The Dragon Slayer did not continue to stay. He immediately turned around and left as fast as he could. But what was the result? Kang Lin had already regained her senses. She looked at the Dragon Slayer who had turned around and left quickly. She sneered and said coldly, "You want to leave?" Kang Lin did not make a move. Instead, a white light was released from her body. It expanded a little and instantly expanded into a crystal coffin. In just a few seconds, the crystal coffin had already covered the sky as if it had covered the entire world. Under normal circumstances, the Dragon Slayer could leave smoothly in a matter of minutes given his speed. However, it was not that easy to leave now because there was a heaven-defying ruler of the stars in Kang Lin blocking him. The Dragon Slayer was completely dumbfounded when he saw the crystal coffin covering him. He almost exhausted all his strength and shouted hysterically, "You can't kill me! You can't kill me!" Chapter 2548. He was indifferent. Of course, Longao hoped that Kang Lin could suppress Long Tu. If that was the case, it would be too advantageous for him. Suppress. A cold voice came from Kang Lin's mouth. Without giving Long Tu the slightest chance to speak, the majestic crystal coffin directly descended from the sky and fiercely suppressed Long Tu. What kind of concept was this? One had to know that Long Tu was a genuine half-step starry sky dominator, and his strength was superior to other half-step starry sky dominators. But in the end, such a powerful half-step starry sky dominator had no resistance in the face of the crystal coffin. Looking at Long Tu, who was suppressed by the crystal coffin in the distance, Longao was a little shocked. From this, one could imagine how powerful the crystal coffin was. In just a few seconds, Long Tu had been forcibly suppressed by the crystal coffin and did not even have the slightest strength to resist. The crystal coffin shrank and returned to Kang Lin's right palm. He did not ask. Of course, Longao knew when he should ask and when he should not. If Kang Lin wanted to tell him, even if he did not ask, he believed that Kang Lin would tell him. If Kang Lin did not want to tell him, then no matter how he asked, Kang Lin would probably not tell him. "Longao, wait for me." Before Longao could speak, Kang Lin's figure had already disappeared on the spot and entered the crystal coffin. Longao shrugged helplessly because at this time, he knew that there was nothing he could do. He could only wait. However, things were already doomed. Longao could almost be sure that Long Tu had been forcibly suppressed by the crystal coffin and it was probably impossible for him to escape. It was a little funny. If Long Tu knew that this would be the result, he would probably not come even if he was beaten to death. Not only did he fail to kill him, but he also buried himself. It was completely not worth the loss. However, there was no medicine for regret in this world. Time passed bit by bit. About 10 minutes later, Kang Lin appeared in front of Longao with Long Tu. As for the crystal coffin, it was already gone. Without any concealment, the crystal coffin had probably entered Kang Lin's dantian. Long Tu greets master. Now, Long Tu's attitude had taken a 180-degree turn. Was this still the insufferably arrogant Peak Dragon Clan ancestor? Is this still the powerful Dragon Slayer from before? Although Longao had already guessed that this would be the outcome, he was still a little dumbfounded when he saw Long Slayer's respectful attitude. Kang Lin lived up to her name as the Starry Sky Ruler. Moreover, she was a Starry Sky Ruler who had mastered the power of primal chaos. Even the powerful dragon slayer had no way of resisting her. Yes. Longao looked at Kang Lin, who was beside Long Tu. Although he did not say anything, his meaning was very clear. Kang Lin only smiled indifferently. From now on, he is your slave. If something happens to me, you can't blame anyone else. He felt helpless. He felt even more depressed. Kang Lin, you can lose your mind at any time. If you stay by my side, I can guarantee that even if I die, I won't let anything happen to you. However, the biggest problem is that you leave without a sound. Even I can't lock onto you. If something happens to you at this time, I'm afraid. Longao didn't finish his sentence, but the meaning in his words was very clear. Kang Lin was not moved at all. Instead, she said indifferently, if I choose to leave, you don't have to care about me. Longao didn't continue to ask because he knew that even if he continued to ask, he believed that Kang Lin wouldn't answer him. About half an hour later, Kang Lin's face was blank and her eyes were empty. Longao already knew that Kang Lin was delirious again at this moment. Until this moment, he still didn't know what was going on with Kang Lin. Why would she become delirious all of a sudden and then regain her consciousness all of a sudden? It would be fine if it was someone else, but it was the Starry Sky ruler who had mastered the power of primal chaos. It was really a little unbelievable. He couldn't figure it out. Master, what should we do now? Longao sighed as he looked at Long Tu, who was respectful to him in front of him. Just an hour ago, Long Tu was still chasing after him. If it weren't for his strength and the transformation of spatial teleportation into temporal teleportation, he would have died. His greatest reliance was the chaotic nine-colored lotus. But now, the insufferably arrogant Long Tu had become his slave. As long as he wanted to, he could kill Long Tu anytime and anywhere. You're not convinced? Long Tu lifted his head, looked at Longao in front of him, and nodded truthfully. He had been forcibly suppressed, so there was almost no point in lying at this time. The winner is the king and the loser is the bandit. You don't have to complain. Long Slayer nodded again and said helplessly, if I knew this would be the outcome, I wouldn't have come no matter what. However, it's too late now. Since things have already come to this, I'll stay by your side obediently. Longao certainly knew what Long Tu meant. If it weren't for Kang Lin, Long Tu definitely wouldn't have chosen to submit, because submitting to him was a great humiliation. At the end of the day, Long Tu was afraid of Kang Lin and didn't submit to him. However, since things had already come to this, Longao wouldn't refuse. With Long Tu's help, he already had the capital to contend with the 9 great starry sky empires. Longao had always been worried about the safety of the empire. If he could let Long Tu oversee the empire, then he would have less to worry about. Longao was very grateful to Kang Lin. Although he and Kang Lin each took what they needed, he had the greater advantage at this time. It seemed like he still had to protect Kang Lin well. It was mutually beneficial. Long Tu, although you have been forcibly suppressed by Kang Lin, I believe that you are already aware of her strength. I can promise you now that the moment I become the ruler of Starry Sky, you will regain your freedom. Long Tu hadn't devoured the chaotic stone tablet anyway. If his family became a Starry Sky ruler while he was still alive, then even if Long Tu regained his freedom, he wouldn't be a threat to him. He didn't think much of it. If everyone could become a Starry Sky ruler, then the Starry Sky ruler wouldn't be worth much. A Starry Sky ruler wasn't a cabbage that could be bought at a roadside stall. Long Tu obviously didn't know that Longao had seized the 12-sided chaotic stone tablet. Otherwise, he wouldn't have thought this way. Upon seeing Long Tu's expression, Longao already knew what he was thinking. Without further ado, he summoned the attribute-less chaotic stone tablet from the chaotic hall and let it float in the air in front of him. Chapter 2549. Looking at the black stone tablet floating in front of Longao, Dragon Slayer was completely shocked. He was so shocked that he couldn't even speak. Because Dragon Slayer had already sensed that the black stone tablet floating in front of Longao was actually the legendary Chaos Stone Tablet. As everyone knew, There were 12 Chaos Stone tablets in the vast starry sky. He had never heard of a 13th Chaos Stone tablet. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, it would have been hard to believe. He didn't ask much. Dragon Slayer finally knew what Kang Lin meant by what she said to him before. You come with me. This time, he followed Kang Lin into this mysterious plane. From the beginning to the end, even when Kang Lin had regained her consciousness, he didn't ask why Kang Lin came this time. However, Kang Lin had already said that she had finished her business and could leave on her own. Longao's face was very solemn. If it was just him and Dragon Slayer, they could leave openly. But now, the situation was very special. He had Kang Lin by his side and couldn't step into the Chaos Hall. Once he went out and was discovered by others, especially the Starry Sky Dominator, he would be in big trouble. As for the remaining 9 half-step Starry Sky Dominators, Longao was no longer so afraid. Dragon Slayer's strength wasn't just for show. Even if Dragon Slayer couldn't fight against 9 or even 3, in a one-on-one or even one-on-two situation, Longao believed that Dragon Slayer still had full confidence to win. What should he do? Looking at Longao's solemn face, Dragon Slayer asked, Master, what's the matter? Since knowing that Longao had the Chaos Stone tablet, Dragon Slayer's attitude had completely changed because he knew very well what the Chaos Stone tablet meant. Now that Dragon Slayer's situation was completely different, Longao didn't hide anything and roughly explained his helplessness in his heart. I see. Of course, Dragon Slayer knew that the matter was troublesome. After all, Kang Lin was still unconscious and couldn't fight against the Starry Sky Dominators outside, including the 9 half-step Starry Sky Dominators. Master, how about this? Let me take Kang Lin away, and you choose to leave alone. What do you think? Under such circumstances, it seemed that this was the only way. He shrugged helplessly. That's the only way. Of course, Longao was not worried that Long Tu would have any ulterior motives, so he chose to split up and leave quickly. Longao successfully left the mysterious plane and met up with Dragon Slayer. 3 days later, a piece of news spread through the vast starry sky. It was that the white-clothed girl who had entered the mysterious plane had been following Longao all this time. What kind of concept was that? Longao? Longao again. Currently, the whereabouts of the soaring dragon empire were unknown. If he wanted to confirm whether the white-clothed girl was following Longao, he only needed to find Longao. However, in the vast starry sky, if Longao didn't take the initiative to appear, it wouldn't be easy to find traces of Longao. Longao was very depressed. Kang Lin was still following him closely. Even if he wanted to go to the Martial Heaven continent, it was impossible. Previously, in the mysterious plane, the matter of him and Kang Lin being together was seen by tens of thousands of people. It would be strange if it didn't spread. If the divine mathematician and the others chose to believe it, then he would be in big trouble. No matter what, he had already been seen by countless people when he stepped into the plane. What should he do? Longao didn't immediately return to the soaring dragon empire, so Long Tu followed him closely. Longao had already thought about it. When he returned to the empire, Long Tu would not leave the empire. In this way, unless the divine mathematician descended, Long Tu wouldn't be afraid of anyone in the vast starry sky. This was Long Tu's strength. In the blink of an eye, 10 years passed quietly. During this period, many people were looking for Longao. As for the divine mathematician, he didn't believe it at all. Because in his opinion, it was impossible for Longao to control the white-clothed girl. For 10 years, Kang Lin had never left. She hadn't even regained her consciousness. Kang Lin's situation was very special. Because no one knew when Kang Lin would be conscious and when she would be unconscious, causing Longao to have a headache. Just 10 years later, Kang Lin once again left without anyone noticing. Whether it was Longao or Long Tu, they were a little helpless because they couldn't sense Kang Lin's trace with their strength. However, this time, Longao wasn't worried at all. Because even if Kang Lin's consciousness hadn't recovered, no one could control her. Longao was still very confident about this. Master Kang Lin has left. What should we do now? Even if Longao devoured the Chaos Stone Tablet, he might become a starry sky ruler in the future if nothing unexpected happened. However, compared to Kang Lin, he was still worlds apart. No matter what, Kang Lin was already a starry sky ruler who had mastered the chaotic force. Longao didn't care at all. After thinking for a while, he said, Long Tu, come with me to the first starry sky empire. Long Tu didn't ask why, because he knew what Longao wanted to do. The entire vast starry sky knew about the grudge between Longao and the 9 great starry sky empires. If it hadn't been for Longao's good luck, he would have been killed by the 9 half-step starry sky rulers. Before refining the Chaos Stone Tablet and becoming a starry sky ruler, Longao wouldn't have been a match for the 9 half-step starry sky rulers. However, the situation was completely different now. Longao had Long Tu's help. Even if he couldn't kill Bai Jing and the others, he could still deter them. Longao took Long Tu to the first plane. Their speed was very fast. In just a few dozen minutes, the two of them had already entered the first plane. Stepping into the first plane this time, Longao could be said to be a deterrent. As soon as the two of them arrived, they released the power of their respective primordial spirits and instantly covered the entire first plane. Bai Jing, Bai Hua, and the 3 starry sky eagles appeared at the same time. When they saw the 2 people in front of them, the 5 of them had ugly expressions. However, they were more curious. They didn't know why Longao had suddenly stepped into the first plane. Was Longao really confident that he could resist the first starry sky empire? Bai Hua sneered and said coldly, Longao, you really don't know what's good for you. You actually, waving his hand, before Bai Hua could finish his words, Bai Jing said coldly, Long Tu, when did you walk together with Longao? Do you want to become enemies with the first starry sky empire? Bai Hua and the 3 starry sky eagles didn't know Long Tu, but that didn't mean that Bai Jing didn't know him. Because of this, Bai Jing couldn't figure out how Longao had gotten together with Long Tu. If that was the case, things would be very troublesome. Chapter 2550. If it was Long Tu from before, Bai Jing would not have taken him seriously. However, the current situation was very special. Long Tu had already become a half-step starry sky ruler. In addition to Long Tu's physique, his strength was probably above Bai Jing's. Other than Long Tu, there was also the entire Peak Dragon race. Until now, Bai Jing still did not know what the relationship between Longao and Long Tu was. However, Bai Jing was not a fool. Since Long Tu came with Longao, they must have a close relationship. Long Tu smiled. He bowed respectfully to Longao and said, Master, you and Bai Jing don't need to talk nonsense. Let's start a massacre and destroy the number 1 starry sky empire. Ah! Master! Long Tu called Longao his master. Hearing Long Tu's words, the 5 of them were completely shocked. They looked at Longao and Long Tu in disbelief. They did not know what had happened. Why would Long Tu call Longao his master? There was no need to explain Long Tu's identity. As the ancestor of the Peak Dragon race, Long Tu was also a half-step starry sky ruler. How could he submit to Longao? Was this true? They were not willing to believe it because the 5 of them knew very well what it meant if this was really the case. Bai Jing was not afraid of Longao at all. Longao's strength was not much, but he had a heaven-defying starry sky divine weapon. Even he could not lock onto Longao's position, which was the most depressing thing. However, Long Tu's situation was completely different. If Long Tu was really determined to deal with the number 1 starry sky empire, then not to mention using the power of the Peak Dragon race, Long Tu alone would be the biggest problem. Long Tu, what do you mean by this? Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. Long Tu laughed wildly for a few minutes and said coldly, Bai Jing, as the saying goes, a wise man submits to circumstances. If you want to go further in the future, choose to submit to Master. Submit to Longao? That was a complete joke. Bai Jing smiled but did not say anything. Bai Jing, even if I can't kill you, with my strength, you should know what the outcome will be. Hearing this, Bai Jing's face darkened. Of course, he knew what the Dragon Slayer meant. If the Dragon Slayer insisted on taking action, it would be difficult for him to resist. Even if he could resist the Dragon Slayer's attack, it would be a devastating blow to the First Starry Sky Empire. Although the 9 great Starry Sky Empires fought openly and secretly, half-step cosmic sky rulers generally wouldn't interfere. In any case, the destructive power of a half-step Starry Sky ruler was just too great. At this moment, Sky Eagle smiled and said respectfully, "Senior Dragon Slayer, of course we know your strength. However, there is something called shamelessness in this world. If you insist on attacking, we have nothing to say. Even if we can't stop you from killing us, I believe that the Peak Dragon race can't stop Master's attack either. What do you think? A threat?" It was a blatant threat. Long Tu sneered and asked, "Are you threatening me? I don't dare." Although Long Tu had chosen to submit to Longao because of Kang Lin's deterrence, he definitely didn't want anything to happen to his race. After all, he was the one who created the Peak Dragon race. However, Long Slayer naturally knew the seriousness of the matter. Although his strength was above Bai Jing's strength was still there. It was impossible for him to kill Bai Jing. If he couldn't kill her, no one in his race would be able to resist Bai Jing's sneak attack. "Bai Jing, you don't seem to be able to find the location of the Peak Dragon race. Is that so?" Bai Jing smiled and continued, "Longao, Long Tu, if you don't believe me, we can give it a try." Longao also didn't expect that there was a Peak Dragon race behind Long Tu. He felt a little helpless. No matter what, Long Tu was still one of them. Of course, he didn't want any accidents to happen to the Peak Dragon race. "Let's go." Long Tu Longao didn't stay any longer. He turned around and left with Long Tu. In a short while, the two had disappeared without a trace. Looking at the two people gradually disappearing, Bai Hua said helplessly, "Old ancestor, what should we do now?" Of course, Bai Hua knew the seriousness of the matter now. The current Longao was no longer the same as before. Although they didn't know what had happened, the fact that Long Tu called Longao Master had become a fact. Even if they didn't want to believe it, the fact was that it was a fact that couldn't be changed. Bai Jing's face was very ugly. She said coldly, "I also didn't expect Longao to subdue Long Tu. If Longao gets the help of Long Tu and the entire Peak Dragon race, then we won't be a match for him at all." Others didn't know, but how could he not know? Any random Starry Sky Empire of the 9 great Starry Sky Empire was no match for the Peak Dragon race. Otherwise, the Peak Dragon race, as one of the 6 great races, didn't seem to live up to its reputation. Bai Hua and the 3 Starry Sky Eagles looked helpless. Since things had come to this, they certainly didn't have a good way to deal with Longao. Until now, the 4 of them still couldn't figure out how Longao managed to subdue a half-step Starry Sky ruler. Even if they saw it with their own eyes, they still couldn't believe it. "Pass down my order. Important people are not allowed to leave the plane without permission. Those who disobey my order will be killed without mercy." The 4 of them weren't surprised at all, because they knew very well that since things had come to this, their master must do so. Otherwise, the number 1 Starry Sky Empire would be completely finished. No one could be sure whether Longao would fight to the death. Even if Longao was willing to go all out, they really couldn't take this risk. After all, the establishment of the number 1 Starry Sky Empire had taken many years to maintain. They absolutely couldn't let the number 1 Starry Sky Empire perish in their hands. Bai Hua didn't dare to be careless and immediately started to act. As the emperor of the number 1 Starry Sky Empire, the interests of the empire came first. Among the 5 of them, he was the one who cared the most about the direction of the empire. The matter of the number 1 Starry Sky Empire soon spread throughout the vast starry sky. No one knew what was going on with the number 1 Starry Sky Empire, and why they suddenly sealed off the plane. As the most powerful Starry Sky Empire in the vast starry sky, it was really a bit puzzling for them to do such a thing. Gradually, the news that Longao and the Dragon Slayer deterred the number 1 Starry Sky Empire once again shocked the entire vast starry sky. Everyone who knew about this matter was shocked and shocked. What was even more shocking was that the old ancestor of the Dragon clan actually chose to submit to Longao. What was going on? Everyone was guessing one after another. They didn't know what was going on. They didn't know why such a super expert would choose to submit to Longao. Chapter 2551. With the help of Dragon Slayer and the Peak Dragon Clan, Longao had the strength to contend with the 9 great starry sky empires. The situation suddenly changed. In the vast starry sky, the wind and clouds changed. For countless years, the Peak human clan had always been dominated by the 9 great starry sky empires. This pattern had never changed because no one could change it unless the starry sky ruler came. However, the starry sky ruler would not intervene in the matters of the vast starry sky at all. No one expected that a monstrous genius would suddenly rise in the vast starry sky and grow to such an extent in just a few hundred years. He had even grown to the point where he could change the pattern of the vast starry sky. Between the 9 great starry sky empires and Longao, it was really unknown who would win. Although the Peak Dragon Clan was powerful, the 9 great starry sky empires of the Peak human clan were not to be trifled with. Everyone was watching. This kind of thing would not happen even once in countless years. In a low-level plane. In a secluded pavilion with an elegant environment, the surroundings were very secluded. Dragon Slayer's face was very dignified as he said helplessly, "Master, I'm sorry, but the Peak Dragon Clan was created by me. If Bai Jing and the other Peak Dragon Clan insist on fighting," Dragon Slayer did not finish his words, but the meaning in his words was very clear. Longao nodded, thought for a while and said, "It's not your fault. I don't intend to fight Bai Jing head-on. Dragon Slayer alone could not be a match for the 9 great starry sky empires. If his cultivation could break through the limit of the starry sky immortal realm or go further and reach the half-step starry sky ruler, he would not be afraid even if the 9 half-step starry sky rulers joined forces. It was easy to think about, but it was very difficult to do it. No one knew how long it would take to break through the limit of the starry sky immortal realm. Hundreds of years. Thousands of years. Tens of thousands of years. Even Longao did not have full confidence. He felt helpless. What should he do? "Master, I have something to discuss with you." He nodded. "When I got the secret realm, I chose to cultivate in seclusion to become a half-step starry sky ruler. I was going to come out and lead the Peak Dragon Clan to rise again, but something happened at that time. I had no choice but to continue cultivating in seclusion." "Go on." Longao was very curious about this matter. Not to mention himself, even Yu Long did not know what happened. Under normal circumstances, Dragon Slayer had successfully broken through to the half-step starry sky sovereign realm. He should choose to come out of seclusion and help the Peak Dragon race reach the peak. In the end, Long too chose to continue his closed-door cultivation. As for the reason, perhaps no one knew. Sigh. Letting out a deep sigh, Long Slayer said helplessly, "I believe Master is familiar with Yu Bai, right?" "I know. Back then, I obtained the secret realm by accident. I didn't expect that there would be a second secret realm. All this time, I still don't know who obtained the second secret realm. Could it be Yu Bai?" Longao was not a fool. He instantly understood what Long Slayer meant. If that was the case, then after so many years of cultivation, Yu Bai might not be a Peak Starry Sky Immortal, but a half-step Starry Sky Ruler. If that was the case, then things would be very troublesome. In the vast starry sky, strength reigned supreme. If Yu Bai was a Peak Starry Sky Immortal, as long as Dragon Slayer returned to the peak of the Dragon Clan, no one would dare to go against Dragon Slayer's wishes. However, the current situation was completely different. With Yu Bai's cultivation base also reaching half-step Starry Sky Ruler, the situation would definitely change. It was really unknown whether the peak of the Dragon Clan belonged to Yu Bai or Dragon Slayer. No matter what, for so many years, Yu Bai had always been the Dragon Emperor of the peak of the Dragon Clan. As for Dragon Slayer, most people only treated him as a legend. As for whether he could take back the peak of the Dragon Clan, no one knew. "Dragon Slayer, I already know what you mean. I'll give you 10 days. You can give it a try." "Okay." Long Slayer immediately stood up and did not stay any longer. He immediately chose to leave. In a short while, he had disappeared without a trace. Gains and losses could only depend on luck. Longao did not care too much about this matter. After all, if it was just Long Slayer alone, he believed that he would definitely be able to take back the peak of the Dragon Clan. No matter what, the peak of the Dragon Clan was founded by Long Slayer. This was an unchangeable fact. As the ancestor of the peak of the Dragon Clan, Long Slayer had chosen to submit to him. Not to mention outsiders, just the peak of the Dragon Clan alone would probably not be able to accept it. He believed that Yu Bubai would also use this as an excuse. Standing up, Longao left the low-level plane. Tianwu continent. In the outer sea, within the Crystal Palace. The godly mathematician was not surprised at Longao's arrival. 10 years was just a blink of an eye in the vast starry sky. Rumors of Longao controlling the white-clothed girl spread throughout the starry sky. Others might not care, but Longao could not ignore this matter. That was because Longao already knew that the Starry Sky ruler had not truly died. If the Starry Sky ruler chose to believe it, then things would become troublesome. Senior, I believe you should have already guessed why I've come this time. Nodding his head, the divine mathematician said with a smile, I don't believe in rumors, but the identity of the white-clothed girl is still a mystery. Longao, I can even assert that if I can find the white-clothed girl and control her, I should be able to find the secret of the power of primal chaos. Ever since Kang Lin had left the mysterious plane, it had completely collapsed. Not even the 10 Starry Sky rulers had been able to stop it. That was the most shocking thing to them. Senior, the white-clothed girl's whereabouts are erratic, and she's extremely powerful. It won't be easy for us to lock onto her, said the godly mathematician. I know that, but she's too important to us. No matter what happens, I have to lock onto her position as soon as possible. How could Longao not know what the godly mathematician was trying to say? The godly mathematician was in such a hurry to lock onto Kang Lin. Other than wanting to use her to obtain primal chaos, the more important reason was that he was afraid that the other Starry Sky rulers or half-step Starry Sky rulers would find Kang Lin. If that happened, even the godly mathematician would not be able to control her. No one knew what would happen in the end. Although Longao understood this in his heart, he did not say anything. Some things could not be revealed. Seeing Longao remain silent, the godly mathematician said, Longao, I believe you know that my divine chaos tablet can calculate many things. However, I have not yet grasped the primal chaos power in the tablet. Therefore, I cannot calculate everything, especially you and the white-clothed girl. Chapter 2552. He shrugged helplessly. Longao didn't know if Master Clairvoyant was telling the truth or not, and he wouldn't ask. Longao didn't know what Master Clairvoyant meant. He couldn't help Master Clairvoyant obtain the chaos energy within the chaos tablet by relying on his own strength. Master Clairvoyant smiled at Longao's silence. Do you still remember the chaos rock? He nodded. I do. Longao wasn't unfamiliar with the chaos rock in the slightest. According to Master Clairvoyant, he came from the source of chaos and had mastered the chaos energy. His strength was far above Master Clairvoyant's. However, Master Clairvoyant had taken advantage of the severe injuries the Chaos Rock had suffered and sealed it away, unable to leave the place it was sealed. The place where it was sealed was the so-called Scarlet Fire Town. What did Master Clairvoyant mean by mentioning the Chaos Rock now? The girl in white may be the breakthrough, but the Chaos Rock is the key. If I can deal with it, I have full confidence that I can obtain the chaos energy within the Chaos Tablet. Master Clairvoyant shrugged helplessly. Longao smiled helplessly and said helplessly, Senior, forgive me for being blunt, but I can't do anything about the Chaos Rock. He'd already tried, so how could Master Clairvoyant give up? He even suspected that the Primal Chaos Rock had devoured the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet as well, and it had grasped the Primal Chaos energy within the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet just like Kang Lin. If he could subdue the chaotic giant rock and help it recover its strength, it would be like adding wings to a tiger for him. It was easy to think of it, but difficult to actually do it. If it were easy, Master Clairvoyant would have done it long ago. We don't have much time left. Senior, what do you mean? Longao was very curious and didn't know what Master Clairvoyant meant. Master God Diviner didn't explain further. I'm sure you're aware of the primordial rock situation. If the primordial rock regains its original strength and breaks out of the seal, then no one in the universe will be a match for it. He sneered inwardly. Master Clairvoyant was afraid. But when he thought about it, it made sense. Although Master God Diviner had consumed the Chaos Tablet, he hadn't been able to control the chaos power within the tablet. If the Chaos Rock had recovered its original power, Master God Diviner wouldn't have been able to fight it. Longao actually hoped for the Chaos Rock to recover its strength. That way, it could completely suppress Master Clairvoyant. Before the Chaotic Dopeng recovers its strength, I will kill the Chaotic Dopeng as a last resort. He wasn't the slightest bit surprised. Longao had already guessed that the divine mathematician would do such a thing. Not to mention the divine mathematician, even he would have done the same. Master Clairvoyant Clairvoyant Longao didn't say anything because this matter wasn't something he could control. Clairvoyant, Longao, Clairvoyant please tell me what. Dugu, come out. As soon as Master Clairvoyant spoke, someone walked in. It was none other than Master Clairvoyant's son, Yi Dugu. He had also devoured the Chaos Tablet. If he could refine the Chaos Tablet, he could become the new ruler of the universe. Yi Dugu and Longao each had their own ulterior motives. If it weren't for Master Clairvoyant, they would have long since become enemies. Brother Dragon, long time no see. How have you been? You're welcome. Yi Dugu snorted coldly in his heart because he really couldn't figure out why his father valued Longao so much. He didn't know why his father valued Longao so much. He had always wanted to kill Longao and remove the source of trouble. As time slowly passed, Yi Dugu also began to pay attention to Longao because Longao's growth was too fast, especially when he could shatter the starry sky. Not to mention himself, even his father was afraid of him. Fortunately, Longao's strength wasn't that strong. If Longao's cultivation base could break through to the half-step starry sky ruler realm, or even devour the primal chaos stone tablet, who would be able to suppress Longao? Yi Gudu was very clear that the things he knew, his father definitely knew as well. That was why Yi Gudu could not understand. Since his father understood this logic, why did he still let Longao go? Father, do you need me for something? Clairvoyant nodded. Master Clairvoyant looked at his son and said, Dugu, Longao is here to teach you how to shatter the universe. Quickly thank Longao. Ah! Longao was a little dumbfounded by Master Clairvoyant's words. He never imagined that Master Clairvoyant would set him up. After all, shattering the universe was the #1 ability in the universe. Even Master Clairvoyant and other rulers of the universe didn't have such a heaven-defying ability. For a long time, many people had hoped to get their hands on this heaven-defying ability, including Master Clairvoyant. Master Clairvoyant hadn't made a move for so long because he was waiting for this moment. What should he do? Should he turn hostile? Longao knew very well that if he chose to fall out with the divine mathematician at this time, then there was no doubt that it would not be a good thing for him. Yi Dugu instantly understood his father's intention. His father definitely wouldn't want to ask for shattering the universe personally. After all, his father's status was there. It was best for him to come forward. Many thanks, Brother Long. Since things had come to this, Longao knew that he couldn't refuse. Otherwise, Master Clairvoyant and Yi Dugu would definitely make a move. Of course, he wouldn't be affected. After all, he had the Primal Chaos Palace. As long as he hid in the Primal Chaos Palace, Longao was confident that even Master Clairvoyant wouldn't be able to do anything to him. Even if he was fine, it didn't mean that the Empire would be fine. If he was unlucky and Master Clairvoyant locked onto the Empire, then it would be troublesome. At that time, no one in the Soaring Dragon Empire would be able to contend with Master Clairvoyant. Yi Dugu felt helpless. Without breaking through to half-step ruler of the universe, without refining the primal chaos tablet, there was no way he could contend with Master Clairvoyant. Master Clairvoyant also had Yi Dugu by his side. With Master Clairvoyant's help, there was no doubt that Yi Dugu would become a ruler of the universe in the future. In the end, Longao could only choose to nod helplessly and agree, no problem. However, Senior, Brother Yi, I have to say this first. My shattering starry sky divine ability comes from my bloodline. As for whether I can truly pass it on to you, it is also unknown. If you are unable to comprehend this divine ability at that time, don't blame me. Chapter 2553. The God Diviner smiled. Yi Gudu smiled as well. Yi Gudu and the God Diviner had already decided that once they obtained the shattered starry sky, they would immediately pass it on to the God Diviner. Thinking that they were about to obtain the shattered starry sky divine ability, let alone Yi Gudu, even the God Diviner was excited. They both knew what the shattered starry sky signified. Yi Gudu got up and left with Longao. The God Diviner was the only one left in the Crystal Palace. His bloodline can reproduce the shattered starry sky. Unless Longao is lying, it seems his not simple. Longao and Yi Gudu arrived at a secluded valley in the Martial Heaven continent. Brother Long, I want to ask, how did you obtain the shattered starry sky? Bloodline reproduction. Bloodline reproduction? What did that mean? He had never heard of a bloodline being able to reproduce such a heaven-defying divine ability. However, Yi Gudu wasn't interested in this at all. He just wanted to live long enough to shatter the starry sky. Yi Gudu was completely confident that Longao wouldn't dare to go against his father's will unless there was something wrong with his head. How could Longao not know what Yi Gudu was thinking? Let's begin. How could Longao be willing to pass on the shattered starry sky to Yi Gudu? It was a complete joke. Even now, he didn't know whether the God Diviner was friend or foe. However, the chances of him being an enemy were very high. He wouldn't cause trouble for himself in the future. Besides that, even if Longao wanted to hand over the shattered starry sky, no one else would be able to obtain it. The reason was simple. Longao had once taught the 9 Revolution primal chaos art to his father, grandfather, and even a few of his close female friends. However, there was no doubt that none of them had been able to truly cultivate it. If they couldn't cultivate the 9 Revolution primal chaos art, they couldn't obtain the shattered starry sky. Longao even had a feeling that the 9 Revolution primal chaos art he had obtained was made for him. No one else could cultivate it. For an entire year. No matter how Yi Gudu cultivated, he was unable to obtain the shattered starry sky. However, Longao didn't teach the 9 Revolution primal chaos art to Yi Gudu. One was better to be safe than sorry. If Yi Gudu really cultivated the 9 Revolution primal chaos art, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret. He felt helpless. Yi Gudu was very suspicious at first, thinking that Longao was deliberately unwilling to teach him. But what was the result? Longao could do it, but he couldn't. He had wasted a year just like that. In the end, he could only helplessly watch Longao leave. Outer Sea. In the Crystal Palace. When Master God Diviner saw his son walk in, he didn't need to ask. He immediately understood what was going on. It seemed that his son hadn't obtained the shattered starry sky. Master God Diviner had already guessed this, and wasn't surprised at all. Dugu, what's going on? Although he had already guessed that this would be the result, he still wanted to know what was going on. No matter what. Because of his deterrence, he believed that Longao wouldn't hide it. In that case, how did Longao do it? He was very confident in his son's talent. Father, I don't know what's going on, but I can say that Longao didn't hide it. It seems like it's just as he said. The shattered starry sky is his bloodline reproduction. No one else can obtain it. I see. Of course, Master God Diviner wouldn't doubt his son. If that was the case, it seemed that he had underestimated Longao. Father, it seems that Longao isn't simple. Why don't we get rid of this person as soon as possible to avoid future troubles? What do you say? If it was before, Yi Gudu wouldn't have the slightest fear and wouldn't put Longao in his eyes. But now, the situation was completely different. The fact that Longao's bloodline could reproduce and shatter the starry sky caused Yi Gudu to worry about Longao. In the end, Yi Gudu was afraid. He was afraid that when Longao grew up in the future, even he and his father would not be able to suppress Longao. If that time really came, then things would really be troublesome. At that time, he would not even have the chance to regret. How could Master God Diviner not know what his son was thinking? But Master God Diviner said, there's no need to rush. Even if Longao is a big variable, as long as he hasn't devoured the primal chaos tablet, we have nothing to fear. Was that really the case? Before Yi Gudu could speak, Master God Diviner continued, Dugu, I know what you mean, but now is not the time to kill Longao. Wait until the day he devours the primal chaos tablet, then we can make our move. Master God Diviner was very confident. Even now, Longao still hadn't devoured the primal chaos tablet and become a ruler of the starry sky. No matter how strong Longao was, he couldn't threaten Master God Diviner. Master God Diviner had already decided that if Longao ever had the chance to devour the primal chaos tablet, he couldn't allow Longao to become a ruler of the starry sky. It wouldn't be too late to cut the weeds and pull out the roots. Yi Gudu knew what his father meant, but he was still worried. Longao was a big variable. If they were unlucky and Longao really did devour the primal chaos tablet without them noticing, then when he became a ruler of the starry sky, not even the two of them would be able to suppress Longao. Father, what if Longao really does become a ruler of the starry sky? What should we do? Don't worry. I'm confident in that. Master God Diviner clearly didn't want to get tangled up in this problem. Yi Gudu tactfully didn't say anything else. After leaving the martial heaven continent, Longao sighed in relief. Fortunately, this matter had been resolved perfectly. If there had been the slightest mistake, he would have been in huge trouble. If he had completely fallen out with Master God Diviner, let alone himself, even the empire behind him wouldn't have been able to resist. It seemed that many people were still concerned about his ability to shatter the starry sky. However, that made sense. After all, only he could shatter the starry sky. No one else, including the ruler of the starry sky, could possess such a heaven-defying divine ability. He had to think of a way. Otherwise, whether it was Master God Diviner or others, they wouldn't let him off. If things continued like this, how long would it take for him to come to an end? He had wasted a year on the martial heaven continent, and he didn't know what was going on with Long Tu. Right now, the most important thing was to see what was going on with Long Tu. He wanted to see whether Long Tu had won or lost against Yububai over the peak of the dragon race. No matter what his goal was, he had to help Long Tu regain the peak of the dragon race. Chapter 2554. Longao, who had just left the Tianwu continent, had already received news about the Peak Dragon clan. A year ago. With the sudden return of the Peak Dragon clan's ancestor, Long Tu, the entire Peak Dragon clan was in an uproar. Everyone knew that Long Tu had been dead for many years, but they never expected that someone who had already died would suddenly return to the Peak Dragon clan. Under normal circumstances. With Long Tu's arrival, Yububai would definitely return the power of the Dragon Emperor to Long Tu, this was without a doubt. But the result? Not only did Yububai not hand over the position of Dragon Emperor, but he also completely fell out with Long Tu and fought. What kind of concept was this? Yububai was also a half-step starry sky dominator, and his strength was completely capable of fighting against Long Tu. This was something that no one expected. The Peak Dragon clan was not one-sided. As time passed, the Peak Dragon clan formed two factions, one supported Long Tu, and the other supported Yububai. However, the four supreme elders of the Peak Dragon clan, including 70% of the clansmen, all chose to support Yububai. Long Tu was not discouraged at all, because he knew very well that for so many years, it had been Yububai who had been in charge of the Peak Dragon clan, and he had not interfered for many years. Longao soon found Long Tu, what's the situation now? Long Tu's expression was very solemn, and he said helplessly, "Master, I never thought that you Bubai would be much stronger than I imagined, and 70% of the Peak Dragon clan chose to support you Bubai, even I can't do anything about it." Longao already understood the general situation. In this situation, even he could not help much. Long Tu, if this continues, it will definitely not benefit us at all. How about this? You take all the clansmen and return to the Soaring Dragon Empire with me first. Okay. Of course, Long Tu would not have the slightest objection. Since Longao was his master, he would not dare to disobey whatever Longao said. If Longao said one, he would definitely not dare to disobey. Longao did not let all the divine dragons step into the Soaring Dragon Empire because he did not know if there were any spies from the Dragon Clan among these divine dragons. If there were spies, it would not be a good thing for the Empire. Longslayer also knew what his master meant. Not far from the Soaring Dragon dimension, Longao found a separate dimension and settled all the divine dragons down temporarily. 30% of the Peak Dragon tribe's mystical dragons were extremely useful to the Empire. Ancestor? In the pavilion at the back of the mountain. Looking at the Dragon Slayer before him, Yulong was completely dumbfounded. Being in the Soaring Dragon Empire, Xiao Chen knew nothing about what happened in the vast starry heavens, including what happened to the Peak Dragon race. Long Tu did not hide anything at all and told him everything in detail. Of course, Long Slayer knew about the relationship between Yulong and Longao. Yulong, from now on, you will follow Long Tu. I will do my best to help you. No matter what, we must take back the Peak Dragon tribe. I know what to do. Yulong certainly knew what Longao meant. If it was just him alone, even with Longao's help, it would be almost impossible to take back the Peak Dragon tribe. Especially since Yu Bubai had become a half-step starry sky dominator, his strength was there. Not to mention the two of them, even the 9 great starry sky empires would have to think twice if they wanted to deal with the Peak Dragon tribe. However, the situation was completely different now. The Ancestor had already submitted to Longao. With the help of the Ancestor, they had a chance to take back the Peak Dragon tribe. Master, what should we do now? In the end, Long Slayer still did not want to go head-to-head with Yu Bubai because whether he won or the other party won, the Peak Dragon tribe's strength would be lost. He was the one who created the Peak Dragon tribe. He definitely did not want to see the Peak Dragon tribe destroyed in his own hands. How could Longao not know what Long Slayer meant? Let's wait and see first. Let me think about it. Long Slayer and Yulong did not say anything and left the pavilion. Grandpa, why are you here? Long Haosha smiled and said, Grandpa misses you. Did anything special happen while you were away? No, everything's fine. No matter what happened outside, Longao wouldn't tell his grandfather and the others because he didn't want them to worry. Especially the matter of the divine mathematician, he didn't mention it at all. Long Haosha was not a fool. He knew what his grandson meant and pretended not to know. Grandpa, there's something I really want to ask you. Tell me. Longao did not hide anything. He told his grandpa about him, Long Slayer, and the Peak Dragon tribe. As the saying went, the older the wiser. Long Haosha thought for a while and said, according to what you said, I roughly understand. Just like you said, Long Slayer definitely does not want to go head-to-head. No matter what, the Peak Dragon tribe was created by Long Slayer. He does not want to see the Peak Dragon tribe destroyed in his hands. Longao did not say anything. He just listened quietly. So at this time, don't go head-to-head with Yu Bubai. You can only win with wisdom, not strength. You can only win with wisdom, not strength. Grandpa, I think so too. But the situation now is very special. I have no idea what to do. So, I want to ask Grandpa, what should I do next? Long Haosha smiled and said, capture the leader first. The Peak Dragon tribe is fighting against Long Slayer because of Yu Bubai. So, we only have one enemy, Yu Bubai. As long as we take care of Yu Bubai, Long Slayer and Yulong will appear. I believe the Peak Dragon tribe will submit to us. Longao immediately understood what his grandpa meant. According to the current situation, it was indeed a good idea to capture the leader first. However, Yu Bubai's strength was there. Even if Long Slayer and himself worked together, they would not be able to kill Yu Bubai. Not to mention others, even the Star Dominator would not be able to kill Yu Bubai. They could only suppress him by force. Without waiting for Longao to speak, Long Haosha continued, the situation is very unfavorable for us. It is almost impossible to kill Yu Bubai head-on. Regarding this matter, Longao was clear about it. This was also the thing that he felt the most helpless about. If he couldn't kill Yu Bubai, it would mean that he couldn't take over the pinnacle of the dragon race. Be it for himself, Long Tu, or Yu Long, this wasn't a good thing. What should they do? We've already waited for so many years. It won't hurt to continue waiting. As long as someone in our empire can become a Starry Sky Dominator or a half-step Starry Sky Dominator, it shouldn't be difficult for two people to join forces and kill Yu Bubai. Chapter 2555. It was easy to think about it, but it was difficult to actually do it. God knew how long it would take to refine the Chaos Tablet and become a Starry Sky ruler. In the end, this situation was very unfavorable to him. The only way was to wait for his cultivation to break through. Even if he broke through the limit of Starry Sky Immortal Realm, it would be difficult to kill Yu Bubai. It was a helpless matter. Longao and Long Haosha chatted briefly before Long Haosha got up and left. Longao did not leave the Soaring Dragon Empire. Instead, he accompanied his mother and his lover. As for Long Yun, Longao was not very worried. In his opinion, men should be experienced. Otherwise, they would never be able to grow. He stayed there for several decades. Longao left the empire quietly. No one knew. As for Yu Long and Long Tu, they chose to endure because neither of them wanted anything to happen to the peak of the dragon race. If they chose to fight head-on, even if they could take back the peak of the dragon race, they would suffer great losses. Such an outcome was something they did not want to see. Before Longao left, he repeatedly reminded them not to act rashly without his consent. Of course, Long Tu did not dare to disobey. As for Yu Long, he treated Longao as a brother and did not have any objections. This time, the most important reason why Longao dared to leave the empire was because of Long Tu. As a half-step Starry Sky ruler, Long Tu's strength was above Bai Jing's. With such a super powerhouse overseeing the empire, he believed that he did not have to be afraid of anyone except the divine mathematician. Other than the divine mathematician, he believed that even the other Starry Sky rulers were no match for Long Tu. There was no doubt that among the 12 Starry Sky rulers of the vast Starry Sky, other than the divine mathematician, the other Starry Sky rulers had not truly refined the Chaos Tablet. Before becoming a Starry Sky ruler, no one was a match for Long Tu. Longao was very worried about Kang Lin's safety. Although he knew that Kang Lin was very strange, it was better to be careful. If something happened to Kang Lin, he would not even have the chance to regret. It was very helpless. Until now, he had no way to lock onto Kang Lin's position. He could not lock onto Kang Lin's position and could only wait for Kang Lin to come find him. But all these years, there had been no position for Kang Lin. A few months after leaving the empire, Longao met the ruler of the Starry Sky, the Heavenly Tao. He did not know if the Heavenly Tao was doing it on purpose or not. Longao, long time no see. How have you been? The Heavenly Tao and Longao were old acquaintances, because both of them came from the Sky Martial continent. Back then, the Heavenly Taos had been the strongest expert on the Martial Heaven continent aside from the God Diviner. As for Longao, he was just a small piece of trash in Scarlet Fire Town. No matter how hard he tried to cultivate, he could not succeed. If he had not encountered the Dragon Seal, it was likely that Longao would still be a piece of trash in Scarlet Fire Town. It had only been a few hundred years. Longao had grown from a trash to a Starry Sky Immortal expert. He was only one step away from reaching the peak Starry Sky Immortal realm. Longao smiled and said, "It's been many years since we last met. You are good, I am good, and everyone is good. The heavenly Tao disapproved of Longao's indifference. Back in the Sky Martial continent, the two of them had not been on good terms. If not for the God Diviner causing trouble, the heavenly Tao would have already dealt with Longao. Heavenly Tao, if there is nothing else, I will take my leave. He did not want to waste words with the heavenly Tao. They would definitely be enemies in the future. There was no doubt about it. Take care. Just as Longao was about to turn and leave, the heavenly Tao suddenly spoke. Is something the matter? Longao was very curious. He did not know why the heavenly Tao had stopped him. After all, with his relationship with the heavenly Tao, it was already very good that they did not immediately start a fight. Longao, in 1,000 years, I will be able to refine the primal chaos stone tablet and become the ruler of the starry sky again. Does it have anything to do with me? Longao did not react on the surface, as if it had nothing to do with him. But inside, he was shocked to the extreme. 1,000 years sounded like a long time, but to a cultivator of the starry sky, 1,000 years was nothing. Sometimes, when a cultivator of the starry sky entered seclusion, 1,000 years would pass in the blink of an eye. Longao had never imagined that the heavenly Tao would be able to refine the primal chaos stone tablet and become the ruler of the starry sky in just 1,000 years. Longao knew very well what it meant for the heavenly Tao to become the ruler of the starry sky. It was a completely different concept. But what he couldn't figure out was why the heavenly Tao was telling him this. No matter what, he and the heavenly Tao were at odds. The heavenly Tao was not the slightest bit angry. Instead, it smiled. Longao, my meaning is very simple. You are currently surrounded by enemies. As for what the situation is, you should know better than I do. Longao did not speak. Even now, he still did not know what the heavenly Tao meant. To tell you the truth, in 1,000 years, I believe that besides me, the other rulers of the starry sky will have refined the primal chaos stone tablet. The difference in time won't be too great. Longao still did not speak, because he still did not know what the heavenly Tao meant. Beating around the bush was very boring. I don't want to say anything else. I hope that we can join forces. No matter what we encounter, we will stand together. How about it? Ah! Hearing the heavenly Tao's meaning, Longao was shocked. He really couldn't figure out why the heavenly Tao would do this. Under normal circumstances, if the heavenly Tao could become the ruler of the starry sky in 1,000 years, it should be the strongest in the vast starry sky. At this time, the heavenly Tao should not care about him. How could it still ally with him? It was a complete joke. Heavenly Tao, let's open the window and speak frankly. There is no need to beat around the bush. What do you mean? Just say it. The heavenly Tao made a gesture of invitation and turned to leave. Longao obviously knew what the heavenly Tao meant. Without hesitation, he followed because he also wanted to know what the heavenly Tao meant. Why did it suddenly want to ally with him? The more he thought about it, the more it felt like a joke. It was complete nonsense. The heavenly Tao took Longao east. After walking for a few minutes, the two arrived at a plain. As soon as they stepped into the plain, Longao released the power of his Yuan spirit and covered the entire plain. He was a little surprised because Longao did not expect that this plain would be empty except for the two of them. In other words, this plain was an empty shell. Why did the heavenly Tao bring them here? Their curiosity was piqued. The two of them came to an elegant villa and sat around a stone table, facing each other. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories,